Rob Marsden's not feeling well tonight, and Blacksmith Rob is about a half an hour away. So this should be fun. And happy Mischief Night. Happy Halloween. It's going to be happening later this week. That's always a great thing. But today is, what is it? October 27th. I know exactly what day it is. But it's also National Black Cat Day, so if you've got a black cat, hug them extra special. Just trying to talk and stream at the same time, and I'm still, well, no, we've been doing it a year, but I haven't really had an audience to talk to. So, yeah. Black Cat Day. Excuse me. Also, National Mentoring Day. Always important. Always good to volunteer or have, National Parmigiano Reggiano Day, the cheese. Great on pasta, spaghetti, pizza, all kinds of stuff. Navy Day. Honoring the brave soldiers who protect the seas and safeguard freedom. Go. Which, believe it or not, I'm a huge history nerd. So, John Adams is actually technically the grandfather of the American Navy because he was the first one. There wasn't really a Navy when Washington assumed the throne because we were kind of allied with France in the latter part of the late 1770s. So, and even John Adams decided that, and there was other talk too, but it makes sense if we have a Navy. Oh, I didn't even do the hello and welcome to the Supreme Council of the Master Geeks Lodge. I am Bill Kelly, Hornswoggle the Great. I always say, I don't want to be the only one. It's not a council if it's just me. Let's play video games. But, yeah, that's grandfather of the Navy. And even James Madison suggested that we rent Portugal's Navy, but that did not go over very well at all. So there's a little slice of history for you that you didn't even care about. And then it's also National American Beer Day. And it is what it is. Okay. Now that's out of the way. And the intro. And then hopefully Derek Barton will jump on and give a shameless self-promotion of his latest book. He's working really hard, and Tim Richards went to the HorrorCon up there in, I believe, Washington, and had a great time. Check out his pictures. I repost all of his art. He's an amazing artist. So, it's funny, too, because we were talking about it last year, and I think about Halloween all the time. It's my favorite holiday. But it's interesting how in other cultures they celebrate at different times. Like the Chinese do like their Halloween in summer. And then you have different traditions. But for like Western European and the whole harvest and how that swings like right after Oktoberfest, because of trying to eat all the food, it's not going to stay, and they got to ration it out because winter is coming, and it's going to suck. Winter always sucks. But bearing that in mind, Mischief Night and Halloween follow pagan traditions and then get bastardized by the church, and they kind of do it covertly for a little while. There's so many great books and movies and stories, and even Ray Bradbury did the Halloween Tree, which they ended up making it into a cartoon, and that was really neat. Animation is old by today's standards, but still very cool. Halloween is for children. It's the only holiday for children. I know I've said this before, but all the other holidays are either for families, for being thankful, or they're kind of either surrounded around a party, or most of them are dating. Like most holidays are, you know, New Year's Eve, you're trying to get a kiss, Valentine's Day, you know, Easter's more of a, you know, spring celebration. St. Patrick's Day, St. Patrick's Day is the only day that everybody's Irish, whether you want to be or not. It is what it is. You like capital letters. It's like you're yelling, podcast night. That'll show everybody on Twitch. My one follower. Thanks, me, for watching me. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, appreciate it. But yeah, that, and unless you have super crazy religious parents or you live in another country, most people have a cavalcade of stories about, oh, this year I went that year, and this year I went that. Because my Halloween is, I wanted to go the first year, I was like 3. And my parents were convinced that I was going to freak out and not have a good time. But on the other hand, what happened was I pitched a fit. So they kind of like dressed me up in a quick... My mom made a costume, but they bought a costume to get the mask for my older sister. And it was like a calico cat. So they just gave me the cat costume and quickly drew, you know, whiskers. And I was like, I'm 3, I'm a toddler. You're lucky you can get a toddler to put on a costume that they don't normally want to put on. And I was really into it. I had no fear of the other kids. I was walking up to people. I was walking up to the door, knocking on doors. And then 4 on are pretty much Halloween memories. One thing that sucked is my mom made a whole bunch of, what is it, the Buttricks, or the... Well, Joanne Fabrics is becoming few and far between because sewing, for some reason, is going out of fashion. But they would have the costumes, and there was, you know, like a Where the Wild Things Go, the way his costume, Max's costume looks. And it was mostly different farm animals and Snoopy. One year I got to be a clown. There was one year, well, girls grow faster than boys, so I wasn't big enough to be in the next costume, and I was too big to be in the last costume. So I got to be a devil one year, and that was like the best year ever. And then Ron, who's also on the kit. Well, I mean, you get older, and then you get to about 14, and you still want to trick or treat, but it's like, what do you want me to do? My job's closed. It's not like, you know, the next year's where it's like, well, I'll just go to work, you know. Because I didn't do haunted houses until way later, until 98. So there's a lot of years either that I went to work, I went to haunted houses as a customer, or there was a year that Ron and I tried to scare kids. When you're teenagers and you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't work so well. Well, I mean, we couldn't go trick-or-treating. We were too big. And, let's go to a party. Not always a party on like a Wednesday, Tuesday night, you know, and school in the morning. Because we used to plan it out and get, you know, pillowcases and eggs and toilet paper and just have a blast. And it's just different now. I mean, it's still Halloween, but there's a lot less kids. They do that horrible thing where they go to a parking lot and they open all the trunks and they give the kids candy, and it just cheapens the whole experience, if you ask me. It's like, well, you know, the whole adventure of it is you're going to creepy neighbors. And the weird thing is the creepy neighbors are just normal on Halloween night. And then your normal neighbors are just creepy because they get into it, you know, because they remember being a kid and freaking people out. Now I'm a drill sergeant. I just stand and yell on the street. Come on, go, go, go. You've only got so many hours to collect as much candy as you can. Get your butts in gear and get out of there. And the parents, I keep waiting for parents to like yell at me, and, you know, it's Phoenix. They could pull a gun on me. But they don't. They all just laugh, and the kids start running, and the adults go, "You listen to that, man!" Because most of them are drinking. I live in I'm surrounded by wealthy areas. My area is not wealthy, but it's a different class of fun people. So it's just different. But I mean, now, I thought I don't know if I filled out the paperwork wrong or they just, sometimes at a haunt you'll hire people, but you won't ever use them because they're standbys. And just that year, everybody happens to show up, so they never get used. So they, like, you hired me, I'm older because I put my date of birth down. I'm 53. I'm well past my prime of chasing people down. I'm not in my 20s anymore. And, it's, you're hired. You haven't even met me personally. This isn't the remote job. I can't scare people from home. I mean, I can, but only like once. Then they're onto it. It's that guy in that house. Watch him. He has jump scares for no reason. But I didn't. That's another reason too, because there was a lot of discussion about are we going to do the podcast, and most everybody was busy except for Rob the Blacksmith. So he'll be joining us later. He had to help his mother with her computer, so top priority, family first. And then, like I said, I did extend the invitation to Derek. I didn't hear back from him, but he has a wife and kid, so also busy. But yeah, adult parties are fun. The worst part is, like, sometimes your wife or girlfriend who's just sort of plain Jane will just dress super sexy for Halloween. And then you can't leave her alone for the rest of the night. You end up getting in trouble all evening. And that's kind of a downer, but the memory is still there. So that's good. So that but that's always, meeting people at parties and work is always weird, because it's like, well, that's your work persona. That may not, it may not be like that when you're at home. Some people are vastly different. We've all had that person at work, you're like, oh man, you're amazing. And then you hang out with them in real life and you're like, this is a huge mistake. And go to your local haunted house. Support those workers. It's live theater, improv, really. I mean, yeah, they got lines that you memorize a couple lines, but the problem is if you use the same line all the time and you're trying to scare people with it, eventually they say it back to you. And that is very frustrating if you're trying to be scary. If you're trying to be funny, use the line as much as you want and laugh at them when they, I know, right? Or, do the best room I ever saw was Digger's room and other rooms like that, which are what we would refer to in the industry as drill sergeant rooms, where there's really no right answer for what the actor comes out and yells at you. He just says, like, Digger was dressed as a director and he had a bullwhip in one hand and a megaphone in the old style megaphone in the other, and he would crack the whip and yell action. Most people are not going to know what the hell to do. They're just going to, and they did. They just froze. There was only like your 30% that, became, sorry, Stella, became animated and started jumping around and doing a bunch of crap. Other than that, they didn't really. It was just, it's a haunted house. I'm paying you almost $30 to treat me like crap. Went out to the ranch today. It was good. There is a house that is I always love, not just Halloween, Christmas too, but Halloween's become a lot. It's weird because it's like you have all the decorations go on crazy And everybody's buying them because you're always, looking for that half off day. And then when that comes, there's like nothing, maybe, a couple witches left, and that's about it. And it's, oh, where are all the skeletons? Damn it, I should have bought them before. But with the kids, it's because they're less kids, is that, or they're just going to other places, or you don't have the mall anymore where they used to trick or treat at the mall. Because I remember working at the mall. Here's your bag of candy. Oh, that's right, it's Halloween. Hi, trick or treat. Oh, So, I guess it's a half a dozen, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Like the supernatural and aliens. We're left with more questions than answers. Yes. I don't know. But I think that, in a sense, it'll come back around because the population swelled. You got a whole bunch of people who don't want to have children. Population's going to shrink again, and then it's going to equal itself out because some people should definitely have children, and some people should definitely not have children, and most people are caught in the middle, and they see or hear or experience themselves. Oh, I didn't want to get this dark or turn this way. I was trying to talk about Halloween, damn it. But yeah. So hopefully there'll be more kids soon, and there'll be more Halloweeners, because trick-or-treating is for children, and, that's why I always like when the parents are like, oh, trick-or-treat. I already gave your kid a handful, dude. You're set. I didn't give you one piece. You weren't even paying attention. At least you've got a costume on this year, but get a sitter. Go to a haunt. Do not take the kids to the haunt. It's not a fun time. We talked about it last week, where the kids are they're traumatized. Now, if they're haunt kids and they've grown up in the industry, or like my kids, they helped build the room, or they were in it when the lights were all on during the day and the power was on, and they hit this button while I adjust this pneumatic. So now they're desensitized. They know it's scary for the first time for them, but that was always funny, too, because haunt workers would always have their children come in on either the first night, or they would actually pay and bring them in on the end, or whatever. But the children of the haunt workers always managed to go through several times on Friends and Family Night because it's free. And your mom's probably not going to want to go through again, but your nephew is probably going to want to go through 6 times. And on Friends and Family Night, that's fine, because time 3, he's going to turn into a little smartass, and then he's going to, oh yeah, he leaves, and the actors are like, I didn't think about it that way. He's right. So it's always good to bounce your lines off of not just other actors, but potential customers. And haunt kids they're freaked out about it the very first time. And then after that, it's like, oh, seen it. It's like that picture of the lead singer of Metallica, and he's got the horns up, and his wife and kids are standing there, and his one daughter is like, and it doesn't matter. You could be the lead singer of Metallica, and your teenage daughter will still think you're just a total dork. And yeah, that's true. Doesn't matter how cool you are. It's a multi-million-dollar installation. I get to... Never mind, you're unimpressed with with Rob Zombie's Great American Nightmare because you're too young. But you're only like 12. So, yeah, don't bring the kids to the haunt. Unless you have is this the kid's weird? Then it's all, yeah. Or it's a theater kid. They're right at home. They don't care. But I always got to cheat as an adult later in life when I started doing... I got a splinter or a thorn. I was doing mesquite and yard work, and it could be metal. Who knows? I was cutting up that aluminum truck bed cover. So much quicker with The wood took a long time because you're cutting, metal, and all of a sudden here goes the metal blade for metal into wood. And then I got some. Well, I'm stripping like 3 vehicles at once out there. I'm only allowed to talk about one of them. And Pete's driving back. Hopefully he'll be back by Wednesday. He got, I reposted the stuff on that. So he got the big trucks that he bought. He's all excited. And he got his big black Chevy running again. He's very happy. And he got to laugh at me because I had to cut off the... You have to cut off your bottom of your goatee to work in the kitchen. What? Can I just wear one of them face hair? Nope. What about my hair? Oh, no, that's fine. You can just leave it under your hat. Not going to tell you that 3 years ago when I was working at Dairy Queen, I made an epic hamburger for this guy, and he really enjoyed it until halfway through, and he got one of my hairs, and then he almost threw up at the table and made me I gave him his money back because if it makes you feel any better, I took a shower before work. It doesn't. I'm terribly sorry. I'm like the only one here. All the other kids have short hair. It's like, I know it's mine. I'm sorry. It's not. It's funny, but it's not funny. It's definitely not funny at the time. Because I have a food handler's license. That's gross. And we didn't have hairnets. But, anyway. So, yeah. That's where that picture came from of me standing there at the ranch. Because Judy's like, hey. And I'm like, yeah. Then he had to laugh at me because it's like, dude, I would have accidentally burned it off or cut it off anyway because I'm that clumsy because I'm usually not paying attention. I'm usually doing other stupid stuff. But I'm amazed how we're going to be playing the Dungeons and Dragons, Castles and Crusades on November 11th, I believe, 8 a.m. Mountain Time, Phoenix, Arizona. And the sound was really bad because we were using the laptop, but like I said, my old boss Fabian donated this cool mic, so we're going to use that. And Blacksmith, or DM Rob's going to bring more of his setup, so we'll get that set up. And then I went down to Santan to visit Cliff. He's doing a little better. And I wish he could join me today. That'd be awesome. But I got all the cameras, so hopefully we'll be able to do different views. And I don't know how we're going to... I'm not that tech savvy. Well, we'll find someone, don't worry. Someone, somewhere... There's always someone within your circle, and after you pay for it, they're like, I could have helped you with that. Where the fuck were you 30 days ago when we made this decision? Tea. Can't afford booze or soda. Booze or weed? Oh, hands down, weed. Yeah, sorry. Booze is fun, but that's only for the nighttime, and well, lately only on Monday nights. I mean, yeah, I get really drunk, but I'm hanging out with my friends and we're talking about geek stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to enjoy drinking and smoking weed, and a lot of our viewers watch it later and they smoke when I smoke. So, thanks, Carson. So, it's also interesting that Mischief Night is such a big deal on the East Coast, probably because it's more, church, parish-driven, and that such nature. Because you don't really have Mischief Night per se. Well, then again, we don't have a lot of pile of leaves to set on fire and spread all over the... I mean, we do, but I was watching, how do you say his name? Frilioth play 7 Days to Die, and they're doing the challenge where I love 7 Days to Die. It's adult Minecraft. It's linear and simple. It's a team zombie killing game. What do you want? There's not going to be a 7-layer plot in it. Just go on the missions, grab the shit. Blood Moon. So they have a mod that you can install. That's, I'm going to show my ignorance. I love that game. Doesn't mean I'm any good at it. I've been playing it for 10 years. I'm watching these guys play going, wow, I really suck. Taking Dishong Tower out with them running on a more difficult level than I play on because I'm a wuss. And they're taking all these zombies out with a level 1 knife. Oh, you're still a baby. That's impressive. Up here. But you can't. You start at the bottom, you go in, and you can't leave the tower until you find the. It's a mod. It's not the normal game, but you can't leave until you find the gyrocopter and build one and fly away. Like, that's pretty badass. And then they have another one for an aircraft carrier, where you're like out in the middle of the desert, and there's an aircraft carrier, and you start out in this tent. And if you go outside the tent, you die. Ow. Picked up some cactus thorns, I think, but I can't see them because now that I'm 53, I can only see far. What is that? Farsighted, when you can only see far away, but you can't see up close. I can still read a digital clock from 3 rooms away, but now I can't, like, read print anymore without glasses, and they're broken. So life is one first world problem after another. We'll get through this. It will be a thing. Ooh, baby. But yeah, Mischief Night is actually a big deal. Well, it was near Philadelphia where my father grew up and mother, and they talked about, and other people too have talked about, it gets, kids go on pranks and stuff like that, knock garbage cans over. Out here, it's more like, it's Mischief Night. It is? Oh, thank you. Yeah! It's not really a thing. Whereas Halloween is a thing. People dress up at work. People take their kids everywhere. It's an actual pagan festival, which is also interesting. I love trick-or-treating. Trick-or-treating is also very important socially because here's a perfect example. I have 2 elderly ladies that live across the street from me. And one is older than the other. One is actually not as close. She's closer to Pete and Judy's age. She's in her mid to late 60s. And I don't know about their online presence or who they're texting or calling. I hear an occasional conversation because the one has her door open a lot. She takes advantage of the nice weather. She grew up in Ohio, so she loves it out here. Like a lot of people, where are you from? Minnesota. Oh, you're never going back. Only if I have to. Because they just hate the cold to the bone. Yeah. But, you hear them gush when the kids come up to the door. Or even the other one will sit out on the driveway with a bowl of candy and eat half the bowl that she's not supposed to eat. And then you wonder why the paramedics are always at your house, because you do stuff you're not supposed to do. Hey, I do it too. No judgment, just facts. But it's... the loss of Halloween is like the loss of the video rental store, where you're cutting out a huge... You may not be able to socialize a lot at work. All of your friends may be far away and you're not really into technology. So, having not everybody goes to bars. You can't eat out every night. It's expensive. You gotta... And the grocery store is... some of the people there are normal, and some of the people look normal, and they're out of their fucking minds. So, same thing with Walmart, same thing with Target. So Halloween and the video store and well, video arcades are just about gone because why go to one when all the games at home you paid for already and you're playing these epic storylines for free in your room. Running low on hot water. But I think it's sad if it gets diminished. Same thing with pool halls, bowling alleys. These are, I mean, there used to be pool halls all over Phoenix. I don't know where one is now. But, I mean, not that I'm advocating gambling and stuff like that, but it was cool to go to a pool hall on a Friday night and shoot pool with your friends and meet other people and try to pick up on girls, fail miserably, and, you know, just hang out. Because you can't really, you could kind of talk at a bar. I wanted to make a parallel analogy to dating, but I haven't been on a date. I'm not the guy to talk to. But it always said, let's go to a movie. And that was always like the worst idea. Because you talk a lot before the movie, and then it's like, sit here and be quiet for 2 hours. Okay, and then it's just, that always seemed like really stupid for a date idea. Like bowling makes sense, pool makes sense, even video games make sense because you could do, you know, different kind of stuff, or mini golf. I know a lot of the mini golf places have been closing as well, and roller skating rinks. That's the other one I was trying to remember because I think Great Skate is still open on the west side, but all the other ones are. That is a mighty bong. I'm very impressed. But, you know, we used to look forward Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to skate around in a circle while some guy played music in the dark. It was fun. We played games. You did the hokey pokey. You did backwards. You did couples. You did... And then... The skating rink that Ron and I used to go to, and Guy and all the people that we grew up with, it's a school now. Because I drive by it all the time. It's like 3 miles from my house. I don't know. It's close. It's less than 5. More than 1, less than 5. We're not sure just how many. But 7 Days to Die is fun. I'm always playing with that. If you want to play, let me know. Because I've burned everybody out on it. They don't want to play with me anymore. And now it's got a bunch of new zombies and a bunch of new stuff, and you got to have a gas mask to go in the burned area or drink the burn smoothie, and there's more like weather and shit out there, and there's like less stuff. I'm half and half with the tier with the like on one hand you're just racing to a max with your skill points, and then now you can make this, now you can make that, so it makes it more challenging and more exciting to have to find the schematic as opposed to, you know, here you go, level 5, you get this now. And they do the same thing in Fallout 76. Now, I have not played the rest of the Fallout games. I have played Fallout Shelter, and that's like when you're watching a video and you want to play a game, but you don't want to pay attention to the game. You play Fallout Shelter, or that you have your own favorite farm creator. I don't know. But it's not where Ed and I have been playing 76 for a while now, and it's Gamma World. Half-Life, Wasteland, Fallout. There was a couple others. They're all based on the same, Mad Max, boy and his dog. Excuse me, the same trope of there's been a nuclear holocaust and we're all starving, and the Terminator starving in the aftermath. Because that's another debatable topic we can talk about. I didn't plan on that, but how I think society would restitch itself after a nuclear holocaust. I remember they had a show about it in the late 80s where the bomb goes off and you see most of the story through the perception of, like, suburban people. And or even so, in, what was it, 7th grade, 8th grade, there was a book called A Girl Who Owned a City, and it was about, my youngest has the book now. I made both of them read it because we read it in school, and then the author came by. I got him to sign the book, and it's a preteen. I can't even remember what it. It's a girl and her brother, and it's kind of like Lord of the Flies but with girls. But there gets to a point, and like even the one English teacher was is like, the kids get to a point where they're sick of Halloween candy, and they only have a little bit of Halloween candy left, and it's the bad Halloween candy because only certain one of them know how to cook. Because the disease, some kind of plague hits humanity, and everybody that's gone through puberty on it just drops dead, or slowly dies. I can't remember. And then you're left with, like, small children and pre-pubers. It's like Mad Max 3 Beyond Thunderdome, where you've got children raising children. But it's like Lord of the Flies. The kids form gangs, and they go through this whole thing. Hey, how's it going? You're in the car.
Hey, I finished up with Mom.
Oh.
I stopped to get a cigar for celebration for the ride home.
Oh.
And this way, we're online.
Nice. I'm trying to. How do I do that? How do I get both? Yeah, I know. I don't know. Will that work? Can I just... Ah. Oh, there we go. Huzzah. What cigar today? Because I already did the days and I did the intro. It's weird doing it just me.
Mine is a Lingo. It's Lingo Toro.
Luckily, I have the gift of gab and diarrhea of the mouth, so there will never be a time when I will not have stuff to talk about. The problem is the ADHD takes over and isn't making any sense. Anyway, sorry. Cigar of the day. Sorry about that.
No worries at all. Nope, it is basically, it's a undercrown. It's a Lingo Toro Maduro. It's a nice cigar. They're a little more expensive, but tonight I am stopped at Total Wines in Scottsdale by Mom, and they actually had them for less than $10, so I can't complain.
Can't beat that with a stick. That's good.
You can, but people get put off by that.
They don't like it at all. So I've been talking about the history of Halloween and Mischief Night, and then, like, how I came to an epiphany. Well, I was thinking about it earlier this month, but because everyone is, you're not getting into Halloween. I'm still kind of sad, and today sucks. Is because December, or what is it? October 27th is the day he died 3 years ago. So it's like I spent so much time trying to get my father excited about Halloween, and now he's gone. So now it's like I have to rekindle the motivation for myself. Everything's in the living room. I've been moving the tubs back and forth, but depression's a bitch, and it's not always sitting around and crying. A lot of times it's just an empty void where you're just kind of trying to get the motivation to get over the hill.
Yep, exactly. That is the worst part of depression, is dealing with those moments where you can't easily put it into a single statement. You can't just say, oh, yeah, well, it's just this. It's never just this or that.
Well,
always a combination.
Because there are the people that literally suffer from depression, and then there's, dude, I got low moments too. I'm forever optimistic. I'll find a way, but I run out of steam sometimes also. I'm not always the Energizer Bunny. I try.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have dealt with it for much longer than I would ever have cared to, and I will deal with it for the rest of my life. But, they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and then the very next statement is it also gives you horrible coping mechanisms and a very, very poor outlook on life.
Very unhealthy coping mechanism. Why do you think this is funny? Because this is how I break it down without crying in the fetal position right now. Pisces moon. Thanks. I have to make jokes about it, or I'm going to start crying uncontrollably. Nobody wants to see that. It happened.
That's why.
It's not. Anyway, you only get so many breakdowns. It's going to happen. It's when you break down too much. I mean, there were bad years.
The thing about it is that if you ever want to see a group that has learned the absolute most frightening coping mechanism, there's two groups that I can personally attest to. One is EMS, so firefighters, paramedics.
All your first response,
we have horrible coping mechanisms because we will tell the worst jokes amongst ourselves that if anybody else heard it, they would be trying to slap straitjackets on us.
They're like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. The other one was everybody I ever knew who was in special operations. Because those guys saw stuff and did things that even we couldn't stomach.
There are so many stories that I've heard from all those guys, but I don't want to get demonetized. You told this horrible story, and it was a top secret mission. Well, I heard about it in the 90s. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Patriot Act, leave me alone. It's the same with my dad. He did not want to talk about Vietnam. There weren't really any good stories. Even the funny stories are morbidly horrific.
I was regaled with a story of an event that took place in a small country that hadn't been around for very long, in a very large continent somewhere. Where
I did some things that
dubious did things that
never happened.
Exactly. Things that happened, people that never existed were at places that never existed and did things that never happened. And in retrospect, if you did not know anybody and there were no names and they were just, it could have very easily have been the setup for a Python sketch, except that people died horrifically as a result of some action.
That's another reason I'm really sad. We should have started this when he was still coherent, and because my grandfather, his dad, Bill Kelly Sr., had a friend, and Gil Hooley. He was always called Gil Hooley, and he was part of my grandfather's original boyhood circle. There was a guy called Al Volk. There was Gil Hooley, and there were like two or three others. So, because my great-grandfather, Charlie, that's why it's so funny. Beth and I laugh all the time, and my dad thought it was hysterical because It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. and Charlie Kelly is one of the main characters, and he's a shyster and a con man, and well, Charlie didn't do crack because it didn't exist back then, but Charlie was like a total social butterfly, but he learned how to play the piano by ear. He could not read a note of music, but he could play for hours.
Yep.
So Gil Hooley goes in after high school, after college, goes into the seminary, becomes a priest, right? But he doesn't go to a parish, and he doesn't go to any kind of diocese or so. He's very, very good. His special powers are languages. This guy is sent into non-Catholic hostile areas, barely speaking the native language, meets grassroots underground Catholics that want to start and be, it's in like a Muslim area or, whatever. This was long. To me, he's a really funny old man that had a lot of crazy stories because he was in Africa. We took him to either Tijuana or Nogales. We took him to one of the border towns. He's like, oh, it's good to be back. I haven't been here in 50 years or 40 years. And the best part was he's in his late 60s. He's an old man. And these women came up and they really... They tried to haggle with him. I forget what they were selling. And, of course, it was the old switcheroo halfway through the conversation. He goes from, oh, no comprende, no hablar, to, buenos dias, senora. How dare you try to take advantage of a man who's not from this area? Why, I know Father so-and-so. And then these women just turned pale. It's like... Whoa, he started calling out the dozens of these, because he knows all of the, it's not like he's old school. It's not like he didn't write them a letter. Hey, I'm going to be in Arizona, because he was with us for a while, and then he left for a couple days and went and visited other people, and then he came back, and then he went somewhere else. I'm trying to remember if my grandfather was still alive when he... Oh, anyway, they passed in the early 90s. First Pop, then Granddad Kelly.
What you're telling me is he's the priest that took care of the contract of San Venganza, saved us from the need to have the Ghost Rider come back, right?
Pretty much. But he would go to Russia. He went to Hungary. He went to several countries in Africa. I mean, the dude was like Paul's dad. He spoke like 5 or 6 languages, where Paul's father speaks like 5. Greek, Swahili, English, French, Spanish. I think that's all. No, Italian. He doesn't know. He kind of knows Spanish. He was learning last I hung out with him, but it's so close to Italian. It's like, what are you, some kind of polyglot? You just understand languages? That's your mutant power? So jealous. You could tell stories in different languages? That's awesome.
Paul's dad has a multilingual area, though. That made his life easier when it came to doing it because you had to. It was like, okay, you're going to go up the block. You're a Greek family, but, who lives up the block? Well, the Italians are over here, and the Hungarians or the Czechs are over there, and I got to be able to speak to them. And then I've got the Irish guy that lives across the street who's 150 years old, and he only speaks Gaelic.
Yeah, it's some bizarre language I don't even understand. He wrote me a letter, and I had a stroke trying to read it. Godzilla had a stroke in reading this and fucking died. I love that.
The brother that I replaced as chaplain at the lodge was from Eastern Europe. Born and raised in Eastern Europe. His family moved to Chicago, but they were Armenians.
Oh, okay.
No Armenia left. Oh, okay. So he spoke Armenian, but he also spoke Russian, and he also spoke Italian.
Probably, yep.
And he also he learned Aramaic, for Christ's sake.
No, dude,
So,
Blendy.
you know,
Blendy at work. He wasn't the head prop ops guy, but he was one of the cool ones that kind of, well, several of them backed us up if there was a security call. Strength in numbers. And he and his brother, Bernard and Blendy, were from, Bernard was one of the managers. They were, or supervisors. They were they were Armenian. And yeah, they obsessed with Parmesan cheese. And it's a big thing. And they were saying it's kind of a war-torn area, so you kind of you're inundated with this other culture. So the Italians are there, and the Americans are helping them, or it was easy to learn English because you just hang out with the Italians because they're obsessed with Americans still to this day.
Yeah.
Dude, we're not that cool. Come on.
They had the Turks had overrun the area, and so many of their people had been killed because you had what became Turkey, but you had all of the other little nation states there, and they just basically swept through and they decimated the Armenian people. And I wasn't aware that there was such a strong Armenian community here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
That's
always
like the Russian. No.
Oh, I've got
the Russian group. The group I went to Friday night that I shared the videos from. Those folks are all Russians and Croatians and Ukrainians and they're all Russian Jews, and they got out. Many of them got out by the skin of their teeth before the fall of the Iron Curtain.
I skipped a beat. Skipped a step in the dance. Hold on while I light myself on fire. I don't need booze to do stupid things. I could do it on my own. Okay. I don't need a party to have a good time. No, wait, no. I don't need to. No, wait. Okay. Dare to keep kids away from gardening because the. Oh, yeah. No,
Every child's given an electric weed whacker without a string.
Pretty soon, they're harvesting mushrooms and growing weed and selling it on the black market.
So send them out there and say, cut the grass, use the weed whacker. There's no string on it. Not my problem.
It amazes me that there's the kids next door and they watch me do yard work for my house, I got to get back over to Hannah's, and then the two across the street. And none of them kid, you're missing a gold mine. I don't want to do this. I fucking hate landscaping. I love gardening. They're two different planets. They really are. Well, actually, no.
What?
They're two different classes happening in the same school. That's better. I like that better. Because landscaping, and it's not that it's actual work, but with gardening, most of the time, now if your landscaping includes flowers, then obviously this is this gray area that, but for the most part, your garden's either going to be flowers or something to eat. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, whatever the hell you're growing. So, with landscaping, you're cutting the same tree or bush that never bears any fruit, and it just drops leaves. Like I have the 2 olives out in front of my house. I love olives, but they don't produce enough olives to go through the lengthy, a month? Because you have to brine them and they have to sit, and because birds can eat olives, but we can't eat them. They will make you sick. Won't they even kill you? Aren't they that toxic? Because you have to brine them to get all the... There's some kind of thing in olives that just does not agree with us until we process them.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure. I couldn't tell you the details of it. None of my family that I'm aware of were ever olive keepers or olive oil makers. So they came from southern Italy. You know, the joke in our family was everybody was either a crook or a priest that came out of Calabria.
You're all Sicilians. How dare you call us Sicilians?
Sorry, we were the last defense against the Sicilians.
There you go. I would, the problem with olive trees in Arizona is you're allergic and you're having breathing problems, and it's because of all the plants and everything around here. Go out to Arizona. As your doctor, I advise this. Well, we moved out to Arizona and we planted olives and grass, and you brought everything that's killing you with you that doesn't grow here and takes like double the water because landscaping. So I don't cut.
Because you get two kinds of olive trees. You get the ones that don't produce, and then you get the ones that just produce enough to make a friggin' mess.
And then the birds eat them, and then there's purple bird shit all over everything that you're constantly cleaning off. It's a... Yay! But shade. And in Arizona, shade is worth a whole lot. So those trees are staying up till they die. There you go. Because they shade the front yard and they shade the house.
That's right. And if the tree dies, I'm gonna tell the kids I'm making a tree house. I'm gonna nail boards in that goddamn thing so that we have shade anyway.
Yeah. If the tree dies, we'll set up metal posts and do the sails like you've got on your front porch there.
Yeah.
Ed's got those in his backyard too. They sell them at Costco. They're amazing. I'd do that because the best thing now is you have drone technology. And with that in mind, and cooperating with the airlines and helicopters and all that stuff, we could literally make Phoenix cooler in the hut. Like putting a bit, like they do in Star Wars when in the first one, the Phantom Menace. And they have the robots holding the big tarp, and that's like providing shade for the people sitting in the arena.
Yeah.
I never went as a Star Wars character, I don't think, for Halloween. I did go as a Ghostbuster. That was like one of the last things I went. Because adults different.
I always had. Yeah.
How fast can I get this off, and can I clean it if I throw up in it? No.
I had the ubiquitous one. So one year I was Frankenstein, and one year I was Dracula, and one year all that. So my mom made the clown costume when I was little and apparently cute. Don't know what happened with that.
Little cute. Hey, that was me a long time ago. I've seen pictures.
Yeah, the cute walked away. So,
now I wear I wear my ugly with pride.
That's right. It's easier that way.
Oh yeah.
Like people always ask me, "How you doing?" I look at them and I just say, "You know what? I'm upright and vertical." And they look at me and I say, "Hey, set the bar low. Easy to achieve. Start the day with a win."
I always like to do George Carlin. I'm not unwell, thank you, or moderately neato. Have a nice day. Yeah. Will you give me my fucking change, please? I miss him so much. See, you're lucky. All of my costumes, except for 3 of them, were hand-me-down. First year, I was talking about this a little bit ago before you came on. I was Marie was getting ready to. There's what 4.5 years. 4.5 years. I think 68. Marie is born. There's like 4.5 years because I'm 72, and then Beth is 77. So Marie was going to go trick or treating, and my mom, those Buttrick patterns for sewing.
Yep.
And you measure and you cut it out and you cut along the thing and you pin it and you sew it and you take it off and then you sew it together and you remove the pins. So she made those for Marie every year. Marie went trick-or-treating. So she was like a dog, a cat, Raggedy Ann, because we were Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy, because that's easy to do with kids, especially if they're really little. Simple, boom. Especially if the boy is younger, that's an easy sell. He has no idea what's going on. He doesn't know that he's Raggedy Andy. He has no idea who that is. That went out of style in the 80s. It doesn't matter. So, and the two, they have like 3 cartoons, and one of them traumatized kids. The Candy Heart, where the big glob thing was going to eat Raggedy Ann's heart, and it was like watching Watership Down or The Mouse and His Child. It's like, well, what happens? Well, they just live in that house. Well, what happens to the rat? Well, he's going to starve to death now that he has no teeth. That's terrible. That's life. He was an asshole. I don't really feel bad for him. I mean, I don't want him to suffer, but...
my ability to give a shit has gone out the door.
Yeah, he did try to kill everybody. You're forgetting that part. Like Napoleon in Animal Farm. He did try to kill everybody. You're forgetting that part. And so many other stories. So I had to be a pig. I had to be a rabbit. I had to be Snoopy. Was a clown one year. That was really fun. That was down in Tempe when we it was like the next year. So I was like 7. And then later, you're older, you dress what the hell you want to dress as. And go to parties and stuff. And then one of the best things ever, and you totally are in the same category thanks to the SCA. This is with Ren Fair. Hey, what? I just got invited to this party. I didn't even know about it. It's in 2 days. Do you want to go? Yeah, it's a costume party. Not a problem.
Yep.
I can wear a kilt. I can wear my pants. Ooh, I can wear...
It's funny because I have that Friday is a Halloween, of course.
Yes.
And then I told you Saturday and Sunday is the reunion for the Scottish Rite. So I have to be in one of the ceremonies on Sunday.
Oh.
And guess what my costume is for the ceremony?
I'll take Santa Claus for $600, Alex.
Templar Knight.
Oh, even better. I mean, Santa's cool, don't get me wrong, but do you want to be Templar? Want to go this or the... Go Templar Knight.
Because they didn't have a costume for that, a proper one for that. They had other stuff. And that was the first year that I was in the Scottish Rite. That was when they asked me, hey, could you make a sword for the 4 characters in this? You guys come over and I'll show you guys how to make your own swords.
Really?
So, really, that's what we get to do on that Sunday. It'll be, there's 4 old men. Well, I'm the old man. The other 2 are not. The other 3 are not. But so I get to be. I fashioned myself after Last Crusade. So the knight that was in the.
You're
the
strangely
knight that was guarding the chalice. Yeah, I have the. Now I have the nice long white beard and everything else, and they look. First time I went out there, and I was just pulling, like you said, you have all this stuff from the SBA, you have all this stuff from the Ren Fairs, from whatever. I'm pulling shit out of my ass to make this thing work, and I've got people asking me afterwards, "Is that real chainmail?" Yeah. No, it's a shirt.
Where'd you get that pouch? Well, in 1996, Elvis Mike said, I'm never doing Ren Fair again. And he gave me a box of stuff. And where'd you get this? Oh, this guy in this year said, I'm never doing Ren Fair again. And he gave me a box of stuff.
Kathy made me a cloak one year. And so throw that on. The only thing I had to buy was I ordered a knight tabard, which they couldn't call it a Templar, but it's got the black Templar cross on it. I'm like,
not the red
here
one?
we are. This is the old,
Well,
not the red one. It's the old black Templar cross. I'm like, this works just fine.
yeah.
I walked out. None of them know the difference.
Yeah.
Shit.
Where'd you get that belt? Well, in 1990, I walked into the store and I said, "Oh yes, green." And
you can still go to Tandy. And if you go to Tandy Leather right now, they'll have all the STA shit out because they know they've got to get in the hands of everybody because war's coming up.
War will be happening. Well, Valentine's. It's in February. I've never been, so I know you guys said it was in February.
It was fun for me in the old days because I knew people. A lot of the people that I knew are no longer with us.
Yeah.
So it's not as much fun to go out there and be the old guy, because then you're like, I remember when we used to get up in the morning. You guys actually did.
This didn't used to be here. This was over there, and that was there, and that was there. Old Xavier, he's no longer with us, but he used to be making pots and plates over there. Yeah.
None of this shit was here. This is a big void. There was nothing here back then.
And I hate to pull the... but why don't you go out to fair? Because it's not the same place that I... Well, you could adapt. No, I'm a crazy old man now that nobody knows. They used to know me back in the early 90s.
Yeah, they would want us, if we had still been doing all of that stuff, if we'd still been, now they would want us to come, you got to come out and be the old man. Okay, well, that would be cool. But when you're gone for 10, 15 years, the people that knew you are few and far between, and the younglings, they got no interest.
I auditioned in 90, was a street character in 91. In 92, the first fiance told me, if you go out and do fair, you're going to come home and find all of your stuff in black trash bags out in front of the apartment door.
Yeah.
So I didn't do 1992. And then when I came back in 93, only like half of the people knew me, and to the other half, I was a complete and total stranger. So you have to go into your old routine, but now I have to prove myself to, but I don't know you. You were a customer when I was here. I made you laugh. Don't act like you don't know me. So you go through that. And then it's even weirder when you get to be a stage act. Because then half of the street characters just act the same way. Nothing's changed. I'm just up here now being obnoxious instead of out there over there being obnoxious. I'm still going to be me. But then the other half are like, no, it's not like that. I mean, if anything, I would like to go back to being street because this is an actual job. Only I'm not making any money. You get a cut of the hat. Yeah, I get one cut of 16 other people. And it's dancing and music. It's not Sideshow Bob. It's not what's another, the Tortuga Twins or the Wild Men or Three Guys and a Bunch of Drums. That we're Morris dancing. People don't even know what the fuck that is, let alone they just kind of, oh yeah, and then they walk away. So
I was always the fair didn't do a Halloween build-up, but it's so hard to get everybody. You have to have the time to build it up. That it's hard to do just the weekend.
I think
it really isn't for them.
I've never actually asked any one of the staff or talk to Jeffrey Siegel. He's doing stuff, and now he would literally have to put somebody in charge of it because he's run North Carolina. I mean, it's going on till Thanksgiving, and then it's over. Then all the Rennies go home, and then they all come to Arizona and Florida in the second to the last weekend of January because they have to. The shops have been sitting for a year. Unless you have somebody like us, Christine goes out there for David. But Being a boothie was
Could you
weird
imagine?
too, because you become invisible to all the other actors unless they need you.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, it's like, could you imagine if they were to do it? If you were to try and set it up and run it, but see, they really were not set up to do it. If you set it up for this whole week, so if you have 2 weeks to build it and to be prepared, because you really don't have to do a whole lot, do crazy rooms and anything. You can go out and build it really nice and have a good time, and you do the whole witches and medieval and Wiccan thing, and then you would want to run it for the afternoons and evenings for this whole week and the first weekend of November. You could really do well, even as far out as it is, because people would be excited. It would be new.
Yeah.
Everybody's got, 13th floor is really cool, and there's corn maze and all this shit, but have you guys been out to see the Wicked Witches and all the rest of it? Wow, we can go out there.
Yeah.
You could really do well, but I'm just trying to think. In my head, I'm running the logistics of it. I think I would need at least a month to prep all the people and set everything up for a week's worth of a run. And I don't know that you would want people living out there for the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Logistically, it's okay. I've given this a lot of thought because everybody asks me, why don't they do a haunted house out at the Renaissance Festival? For one, it's a very hard sell to get somebody to invest in a haunted house. It really is. If you're starting out and you're not an established haunt, you're basically going to investors and going, hey, if you give me $20 million, I'll put together a really good haunt, and in 3 years you'll start to see some income.
Yeah.
You want to look at the pretty girls again? Because that I've shot my load. That's all I got. Because the first year you're open, people don't know you're open. They don't know. They don't. You can blow it up, and you have to spend an incredible amount of money on advertising to get people to come, and 2 for 1 and all the crazy stuff. The second year, word has to spread because Christmas is a time you're getting something. So you're going to mark that calendar date. Halloween, you only get something when you're a kid. So there's no countdown to Halloween like there is, unless you're a fanatic like us. There's no incentive to remember Halloween. So the problem is you're working at a haunt this year. Oh, yeah, we just closed. Oh, it's over? Oh, you don't have kids. Well, no. Yeah, Halloween's over, dude. It's November 4th. We're past it. November 1st was the last night. Because they're planning, they want to go to the haunt, but there's life happening, and now I got to work extra money for, Christmas coming up, and so people remember Halloween after the fact, or we can go to a haunted house because that's trick or treating for adults. They don't get candy; they just maybe pee their pants.
That's why you would have to, for the Ren Fair, do it out at the Ren Fair at the venue. The owners would have to be selling it when the Ren Fair goes on. So
Yeah.
Ren Fair goes on, you're talking to people, say, hey, you got to come back out because in October we're going to be doing Samhain and the Celtic, and we're going to have and there's going to be you got the zombies roaming around, and the medieval, we're going to have witches, we're going to have all that stuff. You got to come out. That's when you start your payoff. But it's like you said, you're not going to make a lot of money, but if you do it right, then it builds. But again, he's got to be willing to support that. And like you said, he's got another entire venue that he's pulling probably 2 or 3 times the revenue that he does from this one.
Ren Fair, you get paid a lot, yeah.
So it's a great idea, but he's got to be interested in doing it because it's his place. And then you got to get. Yeah.
You've got to convince him of it. Well, we know a haunted house will work at a Ren Fair because they have one at Scarborough Fair. And it's a legitimate haunted house. They also have a monster museum but nobody is in costume. They don't jump out. You just look at all the little things and read the one that we have with the Torture Museum, because that's the best way they could do a haunt at Ren Fair. I've given this a lot of thought. Is maybe use the ticket booth, but completely ignore the front gate. And now that it's all open, it would be even harder to deal with. I would actually build just past the gate. There is a handicap and VIP parking area. I would construct a maze there. And here would be the whole thing would be if I was in charge of a Ren Fair haunt out at the AZ Ren Fair, here's how I would do it. I've given a lot of thought. I know I keep repeating that. You come up, you park. Hi, yeah, there's the ticket thing. You go over, you get the ticket. You get into the queue line. Okay, actors. Okay. You go through the first maze. And this one is kind of not as big as the second one you're going to go through. It's more of street characters trying to be, haunters, which works very well because and I've talked about it before on the other podcast, Bats in the Belfry, where haunting and Ren Fair are through their mirror images of one another. They're through the looking glass. It's in a video game that they do in Viva La Dirt League, where you're in the happy, fun town, and then you go to the shadow, like everybody's mean and gross, and yeah. So you go through there, and there's a little bit of room behind, but you kind of want to steer them along the road to an exit that's by the middle shear stage. So the problem is that all of my ideas are really grandiose, and it would take a lot to tear it down and put it away before it would be super expensive. The better thing to do would just be to build a separate fair on the same site and just not make it as large. Yeah. Because he's got 33 acres out there. He's got 33 acres out there, and fair is only 22 acres. But every single Renaissance festival, well, except for Scarborough, because it's just kind of, oh my God, here's a Renaissance festival. What the fuck? Every one of them kind of has here's the mystical bushes and trees, and it's back where the fairies live, and which is cool. But for a haunt, you would want, okay, here's the torches and the screaming children. That's where you buy the tickets. Here's the actors. So you zigzag them through the VIP area. You get there. And then they go into the actual gates where they're in behind the fair, but they don't. Fair is the first time you see it, and at certain times, fair is pretty creepy looking at night. I mean, it's not scary. They're buildings. But owls, coyotes, shadows, distant voices, because people are talking in the shops. They sleep there at night. Or they sleep in like RVs or campers behind the shop, and they'll hang out in the shop for a little bit, then they'll go to bed, or they'll be having a cookout, or it depends. People that own shops are all different ages, so I would hate to say, but you got your group of people that are over 65 and they're retired and they make a gizmo and they sell it and travel the country, and they're friends with two other shops and they all hang out together. Or you got the entrepreneurs where they own several shops. This is like an empire for them, and then maybe the spouse is a stage act, and then the other one runs all the shops and the merchandise. It's a business.
Yep. Yeah, because so my thought out there, honesty.
Oh, I'm not even.
First year.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, but my thought was, you do the Sleepy Hollow out there.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Because then you don't have to worry so much about the maze, and during the day, you do the whole Celtic Samhain, here's the witches, and we're going to read your palm, and we're going to tell your fortune, and we're going to do all that stuff, and you can bring in the school, the family, whoever wants it, and that's interesting.
Yeah.
But at night, now the shops become inns, and now you've got, you can have the adults and the older kids, because you've got a good quality group in your horse wranglers, your riders, your jousters, your people that understand it. Now you can easily have people dressed up as, here is the local constabulary. Have you guys heard the strange sounds that are coming from, and what the jousting area is becomes the woods? Have you heard the strange sounds coming from the woods? And then twice at night, the headless horseman rides through the area, cackling and the whole 9 yards. You could do that the first year. You could get good buy-in.
You could do it in the jousting arena, but you'd have to set up. But really, and more feasibly, it would be easier to do it behind fair, and you could just set up a split rail fence or a rope fence, and you could have a guy on a horse gallop at and all of a sudden turn around, and here comes this dude, and set up lights in his eyes, and they could have one of the leather crafters make an awesome leather thing. And, I mean, it's very feasible. So I would have them go through, and then you kind of get into this little area, like you said, and have like a barkeep or a shopkeep. Oh, have you been down? Don't go down there. And then have the second maze, have it larger, and have it the way they kind of did Rob Zombie, where it's a mix of theatrics and scarers, monsters. So you could literally do a pagan festival. You could do all suspension, and people on bungee cords and all kinds of. With Ren Fair, you can have the added bonus of magic, and with some really well done lighting and pyrotechnics safely, you could put on a really good thing. Because when you went to Rob Zombie's Great American Nightmare, the first maze was a dark maze. It slowed them down. The first whole half of it was just a simple maze, and then there was a long room with many doors, and all of the doors went to the same places, but we put a bunch of jerks in costumes from the movie, and now they're pushing you into doors and yelling at you and all this other stuff. So the rest of it is a dark maze, and then you come out into a queue line, and then you went into a clown maze, but you're handed 3D glasses before you go into the clown maze. So all the stuff on the walls is 3D, and I loved watching the clowns torment people. And then you came out into this queue, and then the show started where you had real actors on the left, and you had animatronics on the right. And Trent was all right now, you Firefly family, and he memorized the whole script. And at first the guns worked, and then about 2 weeks in, the guns they didn't work anymore. But so they just pretended they knew the movie, they knew the bit, they were all fans. So I would do something like that, where take the torture museum, because you don't want to put them through the torture museum, because that's going to have to. It's the same way as you don't want to have horses riding down the street, because he wants, it'll tear up the road. But if you do it behind, there's horses behind the fair when it's not open all the time, because the knights are riding the horses around. They get sick of being in the corral too. So I would have a mixture of like little mini acts like that, and crazy people and monsters and devils and demons and angry wizards and stuff. I would have So also you could pull from Faust, Shakespeare. There's so many plays, and you could even do Dante's Inferno. You could do so many different things and just have it set up, and then at the end it empties into, if you could figure out a way to do it, the banquet hall. But the problem is he probably doesn't want to use the banquet hall with it.
Well, and if not that, what you could do is as kind of a closeout for the folks that want to stay for the full show, want to be there for the night, and want to pay a couple of extra bucks.
Yeah.
Come out for the bonfire.
Yeah.
Because at the bonfire, we're gonna have the shaman, and they're gonna be telling you the tale. And every night there's a different tale from the shaman.
That would be cool.
It's the same story or whatever, but
yeah,
you can make it. That would do it, and people would be beside themselves. They wouldn't know.
Oh yeah. Well, you could do Shakespeare. You could You could even do the scene from the Crucible, which is about the Salem witch trials. Yep. You could do all as long as it's Halloween themed, because you can't do Freddy and Jason and Michael Myers because, for one, you get your ass sued. For two, it's Ren Fair. They're not going to exist for many years.
You would do out there. You would have, like you said, we would just have ourselves a good time doing it.
That sounds better. Good time doing it. Uh-oh, did you hang up on me? I can barely see you, but you're not moving. Hello. But that's what I would do. I would have it mixed up so it would be... So you could do like a stage act if you wanted to. Oh, there you are. You almost home?
You could have a field day with it.
Yeah.
Yep, I just got to the house.
Oh,
but you could have a field day with it and have a great time.
Yeah. I
think that would be an extraordinary opportunity.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to do too much to the actual fair site itself. I would use the front entryway. I would do... It would be like Rawhide at night. Or there's a party that the public is not invited to out there that, it's probably still going on. And it's the very last Saturday of the very last weekend. And it's a tearful goodbye. You're not, some of these people, you're not going to see them for a whole year. That's your seatbelt, I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. But I would set up, like I said, poles and have bungee cords. I would like to do, like you said, like have wizards and shamans and stuff, and they could tell a story. And I would like to take a page from the way that churches do haunted houses. How they're absolutely horrific and people being thrown into pits, and really there's mattresses and stuff down there. It's fine. But they do it on a shock and awe and horror level that you're not submersed in it with some dude yelling at you in the hallway. It's more of, don't you understand what's going to happen if the devil... The devil's not real, but okay, let's go with this. But I would like to do that.
You know what's going to happen if the devil comes here? Yeah, he and I are going to go have lunch. What are you talking about?
Where you would walk in and you would watch somebody being tortured, screaming, you're a witch, you're a witch. Or even better, you could have like you could set up the room the way after that shootout at Rob Zombie, then you got into the big maze. And the very first room... You are in a trailer and a tornado hits it. And I helped build the floor, build the walls. I mean, it wasn't just me. But, and I'm no expert of that stuff. But it was one of those, like, everything shook. And I remember in, 94, 95, going to Christown Mall, and they had an alien-themed haunted house. And they did an elevator effect. Where it really felt like you went down like 4 stories, but really you didn't go anywhere. It was just, it's the effect of the,
All I have to do is raise and lower the floor at the appropriate speed, and you are absolutely convinced you are moving down at a particular rate.
So I would have like an old school haunting or possession as like you're walking by it and it's chain linked. You can't get to these people. Well, it'll be bars or whatever. And you watch an actress in a harness get like thrown against a wall and spun around and like everybody, and have people bleeding from the eyes and stuff. And you could do stuff like that you couldn't possibly do at Ren Fair, but still have it at the same theme. I think that would be, I think it would be a hoot. I don't know how well it would do because you get all the Rennies and all the SCA people, but will that float you?
Well, no. What I'm thinking is it would be easy to get actors to
No, I'm talking about the audience. The actors are never a problem. You froze. If we look real close, we can see up your nose.
Let me do this.
Finding actors are never a problem. Finding customers, ow, that's hot. Finding customers is the issue. Without customers, if you don't take good care of your customers, somebody else will.
Exactly. People will not be happy if you screw around. Is my picture showing through? Because I'm not seeing myself on the camera.
I see
right
you
now.
moving in normal time.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I took it off of the wireless network, and we're on 5G. But
5 gigabytes.
I think it would go over well. But again, it becomes something that would have to be sold well in advance. I mean, it's not something you can suddenly decide. We couldn't decide in September we're going to do this thing and pull it off.
I'm never doing that again. No.
Yeah, we could decide today that we're going to do it next year.
That is a thing. The problem is that you have to pitch it the right way, and you would have to piggyback on their advertising, and that's him. Yeah. I want you to pay for the same amount of advertising twice. Once when your place is open, once when it's not. I don't know how well that pitch is going to go over. I don't know. I've never negotiated with Jeffrey Siegel before. I don't know the guy. I worked for him.
He would have to have an ownership stake in the event, and that would be the way that he would be willing to do so. If you said, "Look, whatever we take in, you're going to take your costs off the top, so that we're covering your costs for the facility first, boom, and then you get, we're going to split profit with you. You get 50% of everything we make after the cost of the event to your organization." You get 50% of everything that gets made. So that I'm sure he would be interested in, but you've got to be able to pitch the prospect. And the thing that would make it happen, what would make it really click is if they continue, if Hollywood continues to recycle the Victorian and the medieval and the fantasy stuff that's going on. So Werewolf at Night and, the Werewolf, the London and Frankenstein and all that stuff. If those films keep coming, that's where this one then becomes very much a moneymaker.
I would actually go so far, playing devil's advocate, that he would say no because he wouldn't want. I mean, again, I don't know. This is all speculation and hypothetical, but would he want a haunt connected to his? Well, then we'll just be like.
And that becomes the thing: is you have to make sure that you're not selling it as a haunt. You can't sell it as purely a haunt the same way you would sell the 13th floor. You have to sell this as an extension of that event, that space. So in that space, you're not doing anything that's outside of the medieval time, the Renaissance, all that. So you're bringing, like you said, so we can do Dante's Inferno as a presentation. We're going to have Chaucer coming around and telling the tales of the fallen angels, and we're going to have all of it. That's why I said Sleepy Hollow. You're going to get the Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
So you can bring the knights, and they can ride in. So you have them ride in that secured area.
Yeah.
They come riding in as the King's Guard, and suddenly here's the horsemen, and they're the ones that have to protect the crowd from the horsemen.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you can tie it in that it wouldn't have a negative impact on him, because you can't, like you said, you can't say, hey, we're going to have Freddy Krueger and we're going to have Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers and we're going to have the guy from Saw and all that. No, that doesn't fit with that venue.
No.
What fits with that venue is all of the old traditional stuff, and you can get away with that. The same thing, if you had the opportunity, you could probably sell the opportunity for you have the camping space out there. You have a small area where you can sell the Dungeons and Dragons weekend. You can come out there and you let all the D&D, all the tabletop gamers come out.
Yeah.
They can camp out there. You have limited food vendors and whatnot, but you've got the facades. Who wouldn't lose their minds to be able to play out there and come out and just have themselves a field day at the event? But it would have to be controlled. You would close an area, and he's got to be willing, and it ties in with what his program sells, but he's got to be comfortable with it.
Yeah. Honestly, the more you talk about it, the more. Let's just talk to Pete and Judy's neighbor, Ray. I mean, he's got the shop on there, but he's just got a trailer and his pump house for his well. We could do all the parking across the street of Happy Valley Road. It's just the desert. And it's one of the areas where there's not a lot of trees. It's all flat and sandy. Because I'm like, you got 4 acres. Let me put a pond here. How much money are we talking? It's not about the money. It's about the fantastic mess that'll happen after they leave. It's because
the thing
you don't want that in your house. You don't want to live there.
The way to make it interesting, because like I said, you and I have seen all of the haunts in the valley. We've seen all the haunts in the Southwest and the West Coast, and they all fall along that same theme. I have not seen anybody yet taking it to the level that I've been talking about, and with all of the folks still salivating for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and all of those things, and the D&D movie.
There you go. You said
the rest of that stuff.
All we have to do is sprinkle D&D all over the thing, and okay, we can make a pneumatic or hydraulic beholder or a dragon or a bugbear or any, name it. We can make it.
The most perfect stage show that I can think of is I would want to get a hold of the guy or the group that writes all those punky doodles that are on Facebook. I cast iron.
He would be
great. What do you mean you cast iron?
Bam!
And now you've got, because those would be the ones that you would put those on a stage show, or you would have those folks as your, you would have that as the thing that your streetwalkers would do.
So you have 2 wizards fighting, and one is obviously good and one is obviously evil, but the room is a little larger and they're off to the side, and they're like, they're more of a show than an actual. You have to time this one just right. So this is the bait and switch, and you can't do bait and switch in every room, or they start looking for it and expecting it, and then it doesn't work. So you have all the focus on the wizards yelling at each other. They start throwing spells at each other. It's Harry Potter and Voldemort. It's Saruman and Gandalf. It's that, Merlin and Meg. 1, 2.
You just let them have fun with it.
But one of them, one of them is a necromancer, and he summons the undead. So you have a lift on the floor, or you have them come out. But at the same time, you have them come from behind the audience, and now they're in the room with the audience, scaring them forward into the next room. Raise undead! And then the next, oh, shit, oh, go! Which is what always happened. Everybody yells, go. They yell, holy shit, Jesus Christ, oh, fuck, no! And then they just yell, go.
Run!
And it's always some dude yelling at his girlfriend, will you move? I'm scared. Well, so am I. Let's get the hell out of here.
Come on, dear. We got to go this way now.
Yeah. You could do a lot out there because you have so much space, and all of the power and everything is already out there. So I would do probably a 20 cast in the first smaller maze. Have, like you said, different wandering actors and different actors in the medium area. That it would also involve the Headless Horseman thing. And then the bigger maze would be a mixture of corridors, small rooms, and large theatrical. Like, I'd put the mages in the large one of those rooms. Like, you have one that's like a torture chamber, one that's mages fighting, one that's demons ripping kids apart, one that's, witches torturing a guy in a cauldron and have, the double cauldron where they're throwing water at the audience, but really it's just like a pan, and there's a dude in there. This is so many tricks. You could really, I would use 2 false top tables in both, one in the first maze, one in the second, because that's so low tech, and you would do them correctly, because then you would have later, as the first one, I'm open. Second one, second room, after the wizard's duel, set up a bunch of false top tables, and one of the zombies is kicking. The rest of them are all just mannequins. The whole 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This one's fake. Oh my God, it's real. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you could have a lot of fun with all of that. You can pull all of those different genres together because they all dovetail very well with each other. And it gives you something that nobody else is currently doing. Everybody else is all modern. Everybody is a zombie apocalypse. Everybody is everything that you see on television or motion pictures right now for horror. Saw has been big for the last 20 years, for Christ's sake, and all the rest of that stuff, because that's what people are seeing
they want
when they go to the movies.
There's been several others that are good. There's been the one what is it? The one with Art the Clown, Terrifier.
Yeah.
There's been a couple. They're getting better, but you're right. They were getting more into it's suspense. No, suspense movies are suspense movies. The horror is horror. They're very different. They work well together, but they're actually drastically different. Like, okay. Nightmare Before Elm Street 3 is a horror movie. The Sixth Sense is a suspense film. There's horrific shit in it, but that's not the center of the movie. The center of the movie is you don't realize he's dead till the end. That's suspense.
It's a scary, suspensive film. It's a horror movie in that it's carrying on the genre. I've got ghosts. I've got a child that's in danger, and the child is seeing all of this, but now we're throwing a big twist at you, as opposed to, any of the sick, crazy family films where everybody's a cannibal and we're going to make sausage out of the first 3 teenagers that show up, and the 4th teenager is the only one that escapes. And that's my thing. Is everybody has been doing the haunts and the horror at that level. In Europe and in England, they take, because they are much closer to that history, they like to bring in the medieval and the fantasy stuff that took place in everybody's mind, took place 1,000 years ago.
Even in 1980, you had The Keep. You've got what's the one with Gabriel Byrne, the Gothic sex party, where it's the night that she comes up with the idea for Frankenstein. They made a movie about it because supposedly Lord Byron's castle was haunted, and they do a couple tricks of the light and stuff, but it's not. It's more like the haunting.
Even the Draculas, the most current Draculas, and the most current Frankensteins, and the most current what was the other one? The most current Wolfman films have been taking place in the past, in the Victorian era, and before, but nobody is carrying that into the haunts, because the haunts are still looking for, I can do modern, I can do the zombie, I can do this, I can do that, I can do the other.
We need the biggest, most expensive prop. No, you don't. You need good actors that work well together and know the maze.
I need good actors and a great
hold on. You brought up vampire movies. And, dude, I have to agree with you, because the first, what is it? Under the, what's her name? Vampire, werewolf. It's right there. I can't read it, though. It's too far away, and it's at a weird angle. Underworld. Thank you. I saw it.
Underworld.
So the first one is amazing. The second one is the second one. But Rise of the Lycans is my favorite movie in that whole series because that's just vampires fighting werewolves. This is awesome. That's what I wanted the World of Darkness thing to be like. But it's not. A bunch of nerds made it, so it's just everybody standing around talking about how awesome they are and everything they've done.
Yeah, I can't see how it would be. It would be less expensive in my mind to do a Victorian era or a medieval era type haunt, depending upon where it is. If it was indoors, my way of thinking, it becomes even easier because I can use every stage trick in the world. I don't have to build real stone facades. I don't have to build real wood facades. Most of that can be paint because I'm going to light the shit out of it.
Well, not the wood.
In the
That's
right
a bitch
way.
to paint. Painting wood is a bitch. Just make real wood.
Yeah. So it looks, and you can light it indoors. If it's an outdoor event, an outdoor facility, it becomes a little more difficult because you don't control the lighting. Okay, I can't have anybody show up here until the sun comes down.
Yeah.
Then it can be more realistic and useful, and we can get people through. Unless you make it like what I was envisioning, where during the daylight hours, you have everything set up so that you can have the Samhain, the however you want to do it, and you can have the Celtic and the Russian and everybody else, and they're palm reading, and we're doing all of that, and these are the wishes, and let me tell you the history, let me tell you the story.
Huh.
Everybody's in their garb, and they get to enjoy that. But as night comes, that's when you start to make the change. So you have the crone sitting there talking to the families with the little children at her feet, and it's starting to get dark, and then as it gets dark, now you set off your haunt folks in the background, and she's telling the tale. Did you hear that? And she looks around, and now it becomes very easy because now you've got somebody wearing the shimmering fabric, and they run through the background.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I like that idea.
Now you could play that.
Yeah, you could really do a cool haunted hayride, Ren Fair style.
Yeah.
It could be a lot of fun.
You don't have to necessarily have rooms as such, but you have areas, and you can bring people through, and you can let them wander in certain areas, particularly if you're going to bring the little kids. Take the little kids, and you kind of nudge people. This area over here.
Yeah.
As a parent, one parent to another, the little ones will probably like it over there more than they'll like it over there.
Yeah, it's scarier over there. You want to avoid that. Because that's the other thing, too, is you want to keep it on a certain level for,
Because you're not going to get all of the jocks and the beauty queens from Tempe, from ASU, coming out to an event like that.
No.
What you're going to get more of are you're going to get more of the normal folks from that area who have a knowledge and an understanding, and they enjoy it, and they want to see this because this is different. And they may not be the ones that would go to the 13th floor because they're not as interested. I did that when I was in high school, but it wasn't for me. But you guys are doing this whole thing and this Samhain and all that. I want to see that.
And that's
the only thing you'd run into is the crazy, the Christian rights that would show up to lose their mind. You're doing Samhain. Well, yeah,
it's
but we do that
performative
anyways.
art. Yeah, what do you want from me? Complain over there.
But even then, that's when you embrace it. That if we got that, I would embrace it because I would call up a couple of food trucks and say, hey guys, come on out here. I want you to park over here because this is where the protesters are going to be. And I think you can make some money.
Yeah, they're going to get tired standing in line. We got your food trucks. So if you like those. No, it would be expensive to put that production on, and then there comes do you let it run when Ren Fair's going on? And most signs point to yes, but then you've got this weird area where you've got people working day and night, which that's a no-no out there. Yeah,
you have to be very careful about that. And what I would do is I wouldn't necessarily have the haunt working during Ren Fair, but I might have during Ren Fair, I might have a Saturday night bonfire and storytelling that wraps at 9:00.
Yeah.
And that way you get the folks that want to stay. If you want to stay, it's an extra $20, but we have
Well,
because we're going to have Coco, and we're going to have the telling the stories, and the crone will be here, and
yeah, we're gonna bob for Christians later. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
yeah. That's right. What are you doing? We're bobbing.
We're bobbing for Christians. You should leave.
We're bobbing for Christians. Well, if I really wanted to piss off the Christians, I would turn the jousting arena, and I would let people walk through and do the shimmering lights and all the rest of that shit, and tell them that you've walked through because this wizard has cast a spell upon you, and you're being taken back to ancient Rome.
A wizard.
And then I would
Yeah.
And then I would put up a big sign, that Lions 10, Christians 0, and everybody's out there for it.
We could do that in the green where they do the Birds of Prey show by the tower.
And let people show up, and you're like, oh, what happened? Well, you know, the wizard cast a spell upon you, and now you're back in ancient Rome. And are you a Christian? Good, come with me. You get to stand down here.
Here, I hope the lion gets you first. Isn't this lovely? There's so many opportunities that you could have. I wanted to do, I had a pretty good idea for a Christmas haunt. And I was at the last place, it was like, pour a concrete slab, let it cure for 30 days, we'll build it, and it will be a story haunt where basically Krampus gets loose. So you are... I don't normally like the guide storyteller haunt thing because it slows down the flow, and if you get several guides, they are different, and the people know it, and they'll tell you. So, I don't like Steve. He said this. I like Ralph better. He made this joke. Dude, it's like the fucking adventure cruise in Disneyland.
Yeah, it's the same story. Okay, thank you.
All right, have a good night. It's all the same.
See, Krampus would be cool. A Krampus festival at the Ren Fair would go over really well too, because you could do it at night.
Yeah.
But again, you have to get the permission, and you would only want to do it one night for the Krampus, and everybody come out and do it.
Yeah. Oh no, I would. This haunt would be open all the Christmas season, like every night, because it would be one of those like. I see it as the way the Peter Pan ride is in Disneyland, where you would start off in the bedroom, go through a snow globe. Now you're in the fantasy world, Nutcracker, Santa Claus, Krampus, and while Santa is doing his thing on Christmas night, Santa's doing his thing. Krampus gets away from the elves or breaks his chains. I forget exactly what they have him shoveling coal into the Polar Express. Somebody has to do it. And then you would go. But the best is, if you've got a guide and it gives you the I haven't even really decided if it should be a man or a woman. And really, I would probably let the actor. Because you don't want somebody. You want like a Willy Wonka kind of character from Gene Wilder, who knows what's going to happen, but still keeps that. Well, I don't know. I don't know where he went. I don't know what's going on. That he still has the child wonderment about his persona, and I wanted to have him because if you go through a snow globe, there's got to be a reason. So I was kind of going to have them dressed up as a snowman or an elf, or maybe just a caroler. But if you did it in this time, he would be one of the Dickensian, we're going Christmas caroling. I don't want to wear that hat, So that guy becomes your guy. Okay, we've got to go. You don't understand. It's not safe here. And then you could go back and forth from having a projected screen with Krampus, like you have the wall split open and he's, his face is 8 feet tall and he's, and you get scared that way. And then you have 2 or 3 actors that are Krampus through multiple rooms with hallways where it's, you have 2 on stilts and you have one that's just like going to be sitting on a throne or walking in a room who's later. he's the one that's not on stilts is at the end, and you have the like your smallest, skinniest actor guy be him. Oh yeah, that was fun, wasn't it, kids? You like that more than Santa, where he goes from being like the Hulk, and the more the story goes down, and the more Santa beats him down, because every room it's like I kind of thought about it in terms not just of Peter Pan, but also about the Star Wars tours, where you're constantly in it. We have to get out of here. We have to leave. The way I heard they did Jurassic Park that way also. And that goes back to the Battlestar Galactica show for Universal Studios, where you get captured by the Cylons, and it's one or two of the guys that go, you got to get out of here, and he's shooting his gun, and the aliens are there, and that's how they kind of did a couple of haunts that I had been through, and I think that giving the audience the direction and sense of urgency with a human that's not being mean to them really makes the flow go better. The problem is that your line stays longer in the queue because now that actor has to go through 25, 30 rooms to, really put on a good show. But if you have a lot of action where you've got mixed, where you have actors fighting, you've got, evil toys, because it'll be like Nightmare Before Christmas, but more of a Krampus theme, where it's not like Nightmare Before, well, everything looks fucked up, so you know something's wrong. With Krampus, everything will look normal, and then it becomes fucked up.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, because you had told me about that one young lady that she's a dwarf, but she was an incredible actress at the haunts. And I just was thinking,
Gimp.
She would be ideal as what people think of as Santa's elves, because Santa's elves are always small and they're more gnome.
You have to pay Gimp a lot to dress her, wasn't it?
But the thing is, somebody like that, somebody with the acting chops and the ability to really reach out and touch the audience as they're going through, could play that character, because and that becomes the difference. You couldn't cast the same person as a Santa's elf that you would cast in the D&D or the medieval or the fantasy elf role, because that elf has got to be 6 foot tall and thin and lifelike and all the rest of that shit, where Santa's elves are always more like dwarves or gnomes, and they're going to be the ones that are going to go that direction.
They're more like elves from antiquity than like D&D elves that are, damn, the ones in Forgotten Realms are 6 fucking feet tall. The moon elves are, the silver ones.
Yeah.
But I would do that too, and there's a lot of amazing actresses out there, and I would honestly get 2 of them that look very similar, that are probably in their early 30s, mid-30s, late 30s, and have them play a Mrs. Claus in a mirror bit, where one of them is not right.
Where she's getting ready and she starts, and
she's making cookies. Oh, you're lost, kids. You're not supposed to be here. And then have the one jump out of the mirror and.
Yeah, you could have fun with that, where you sit there and she's handing out cookies to the children, and the children get to take a cookie, and it's just simple, basic, and then off they go, and then the one comes out of the mirror and it's
there's like kids in the pots, and there's hands sticking out in the mirror side, because with a guide, that's easy. We better go, kids. I don't like the way this is feeling. This is here she comes. Because when you know what's going to happen, you can really enthrall them and rile them up. Because that's the other thing, too. The guide has to be a really good bait. You have to be the best supporting actor. They give Oscars for that shit. Because you can't give away the scares. You can't.
Yeah. You've got to be the one that walks them in and shows them, wow, did you see that over there? Look at what they're building. The homes look incredible. That's wonderful.
I learned like the second year of doing it that 2 of the or first year I did it, because I asked Matt to sneak. He was in the cannibal. He wasn't even dressed. I was dressed in Ren Fair clothes. He was dressed as a cannibal, and he had like his punk rock outfit on. And as soon as I say this line, I want you to in their ear. Would you do that for me? And then that's when I learned it's like you have to keep the intensity and not break eye contact. And as soon as they do that, all you have to do is raise your eyebrows. You don't have to look at your partner, because that's the people want to make eye contact with someone who's come in the room. It's a natural human thing. It's from way back, because people pay good money to be scared. The haunt industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. It really is. The Trans World? It's in February. There is a weekend where all the haunted house people from all over go to Vegas, and they go through a convention, and it's here, this is the new blood. You need this new blood in your haunt. It washes off better, stays longer, glistens longer, because they're trying to find new blood, new appliances, that falls off. My first year I had a chin, and after the second night, Ted stopped trying to put the chin on me because I'm so sweaty that it would erode the glue. Was it Gorilla Snot or Angel Spit or whatever the hell it is? It's stage makeup. It's literal stage, the epoxy. Because he had Ted not only created and built the haunt, then he would make up every single actor. He was amazing. So you can have a lot of leeway with low tech because we've been doing it for centuries. People want to be scared. It's a natural thing. There will always be horror movies. The very first movies that were made were horror movies. They're never going to stop. It's never going to go away. Horror movies aren't a fad. It's just a classification of art and film.
Yeah, it's what you portray in the film that has to change. How you portray it. So you had the original, the Scottish Rite they just rebuilt their organ that they have in Washington, D.C. in the House of the Temple. Just had it finished. So what did they do on Friday night, this last Friday? They did a showing in the House of the Temple of the original Lon Chaney Phantom of the Opera.
The Phantom
the
of
black
the
and white.
Opera is there. It's
the silent film. So what they did was then they brought in an organist who composes for silent movies today. And he did a whole thing. So now it's available. You can watch it online.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the neat kind of thing. But that was some of the early horror films. But the way that one was done and the way they're done today, even if you redid Phantom of the Opera, which has been done numerous times, how would you present it?
Yeah.
More likely, my thinking is right now, today, if somebody was trying to make that, they would try and bring it into the modern day, just like they've been doing with so many other films. And it becomes very difficult to take that story and move it there.
It really does, because it's in the olden times. But really, they did. Repo the Genetic Opera is basically Phantom of the Opera. Only instead of being a creepy guy who was disfigured by poison, he was now a homicidal maniac in a little glass vial. I've seen. But you're right that you could do a total modern day revamp, but it's the same thing as we could do the Black Hole again. They did. It's Event Horizon. But Vincent and Maximilian aren't in it. It's not the same. You're not going to feel sad when old Bob gets left behind. You don't care if that ship gets left behind. You're like, God damn, it's like the sickness. This thing is fucking cursed. Let's get out of here.
It's like, I'm out. Thank you.
Yeah, we're not going back, ever. But I left my, too bad, you'll buy a new one.
We'll get you a new one.
Yeah. They made Halloween softer over the years, too. Not just with the Halloween tree that they animated by Ray Bradbury, but also Nightmare Before Christmas was really a resurgence because all the kids that fell in love with watching that made all of their children watch that when the next generation came along. So, this is Halloween. And it's on, all of the songs are good. All of the, that you've hit success with your art, your project, your creation. And even if it's geared towards small children, You know that you've reached success when childless adults are obsessed with what you have done. Now, when I first heard about Harry Potter, Ray Grace, Donovan, his first son, Ray had kids before I did, so he was kind of like a template for fatherhood. And hey, the second book just came out, and I finished reading Donovan, the first book. It's called The Sorcerer's Stone, Harry Potter, and it's really good. You should read it to your kids. I said, oh yeah, I'll put that on the list, So by about the third book, my children were really into, so was the wife. But what was even funnier was Paul and Kathy were really into it, and then Cookie and his girlfriend at the time were really into it. So it's like, here's 4 people without and Dwayne and Dana, the artists that we used for Worldwide Villains. They were really into Dana still reads Harry Potter. Like, that's like the only series she wow. I should ask before I say that. But for the longest time, that's all. She just kept reading those books over and over and over and over again. It's like, okay, they're good, but I mean, they're really good, but there's other stories out there. It's like it's like watching Firefly or Futurama again. It's more like comfort. Yep. It's background. It's like, or Star Wars. Star Wars isn't something you sit down and watch. You have that on while you're cleaning the house because you've watched it for all the impact for like 3 or 4 times now. Now at about time 38, it's all right.
It's kind of that. Well, the idea is it's a well-crafted story. It's crafted well enough and presented well enough that it is a genuine escape. Even the 10th time you've seen it, you can still find an escape in that story and in that telling of the story. So that becomes a big part of it.
And it's dumbed down for Nightmare Before Christmas, but you've also got The Worst Witch, which was a series of books before they made in the mid-'80s with Tim Curry and Charlotte Rae and, what's her name? Diane Rigg. And they were, and it's a cute, fun movie with a lot of fun, goofy songs. But then that's kind of like Harry Potter. But then you have that whole Halloween Town series, and on top of that, Hocus Pocus. So in the modern day, you get to Paranorman, which is amazing. I have the DVD. If you haven't seen it, see it. Paranorman is great. He talks to ghosts, and there's this whole side plot going on. There's actually like 4 plots in the movie, but it's really cute and funny. And what's another good one? Because, I mean, being a kid, Black Hole, Watcher in the Woods, these movies scared the crap out of me. There was a show, and my aunt was watching me once, and I was like 4 or 5, maybe 3, and the woman drives her car into the garage, and the door closes, and there's all these like army tanks, kids' toys, and they end up killing her. And that, like, wow, you could do that, You better be nicer to me, So I have a lot of those in this house. Yeah. Grandma bought me both sides, the light green ones and the bluish green ones. I can have a full-on fucking massacre, lady. No.
That's right. I'm going to get you.
Yeah. Well, even going back to Twilight Zone and Outer Limits and The Dark Room and, oh God, there's so many.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 main, the Tales from the Crypt. Greetings! Love that puppet. I like the way I like the way the Critical Drinker and a couple of the other like YouTubers I watch, when they hear something and then all of a sudden it cuts to the puppet. Bullshit! Like, I remember that from the 90s. And that was a great show. Arnold Schwarzenegger was in it. Buster Poindexter was in it. I mean, the list of people that were famous that were in the Tales from the Crypt series.
It was a launching pad for a lot of people, even well-known actors. If they got picked up on that show, it was generally because they had a waning career and they needed a boost, or they were starting the show and they were looking to give them a boost, and that was an opportunity for those things to happen.
It was like being cast on MASH or Cheers.
It was like Ray Bradbury's. Remember Ray Bradbury's theater?
Yeah.
Was the same way. And when they brought back, oh goodness gracious, the Twilight Zone. When they brought back the Twilight Zone, that was another one that did the same thing.
I need to read and then rewatch The Martian Chronicles because I saw it very young in '78 when it came out, and my dad definitely watched it. My mom probably could care less, but I remember, him talking about it and aliens. So, and I remember, and I posted it too, I believe, on our Facebook thing. Because the soundtrack is fucking awesome. It's scary as shit. It's up there with Westworld, the original movie with Yul Brynner's. That I was a small child. That scared the crap out of me. Especially because there's loose robots, and they're just killing everybody. You can't reason with them. Like Terminator. I figured this out at 4. Terminator was just like, well, yeah, Skynet is bad. AI. Well, unless it's a girlfriend, it's bad. Well, hey, if an AI girlfriend could kill you, it's not that much different than a normal woman. She's going to get you anyway. That's what marriage is.
Eventually, they're going to catch you. They're going to cause all kinds of hell.
If they don't beat you physically, they're going to drive you totally mentally crazy with their crazy, and not all women are like that. I'm generalizing. In the immortal words of Red Green, it's wrong to generalize, but I do enjoy it so.
Yeah.
But no, but there's when you've got women on YouTube making videos about how fucking crazy women are, then you can only go back to Al Bundy and say, never ever try to understand women. Only women understand women, and they hate each other. It's like,
that's right,
yeah.
and that's what you need to pay attention to, because they hate each other.
Every time I met a woman, she was sure to give me her name. Every time I met a guy, if he wasn't trying to sell something or get somewhere, I had to ask. Because men just don't give a shit. Oh, okay, you want to hang out? Sure. You want a beer? It's too early for beer. Okay, you want some coffee? Because that's, as long as you have a liquid, even if it's water, men will just hang out and just consume it and just talk. We'll just talk.
We're gonna drink. What are we gonna drink?
Yeah.
This. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
If you're lucky enough to have a fire, you're way ahead. If you have a grill and some meat, you're the king of the block.
That's right. You're the man. We're gonna hang out with you.
Men don't really give a shit. What happens later is like bad raising, and because if you go back to the very beginning. Because if we're afraid of the uncanny valley, and there's a reason that whites of the eyes are more predominant in humans than they are in almost every other mammal and almost all the birds, avians, and insects. Fish. So there has to be a reason that we learned, and whether it was someone that didn't belong or something that looked like someone that didn't belong, we're never going to know until the time machine is invented, and that is in the immortal words of Ren and Stimpy. What's that? It's a convoluted plot device. What? A time machine. So that we're not going to know, but there is a reason that we love safe terror. Ted Kelly was the one my first year in '98. There's only 4 places that you can experience terror and be totally safe. In your living room watching a scary movie, in a movie theater watching a scary well, unless it's the opening of Batman way back when. That was terrible in Colorado. But that guy was out of his mind. That was an isolated incident. That wasn't a thing. So that was anyway. So, a roller coaster, amusement park rides, if you're terrified, afraid of those, and a haunted house. You're perfectly safe. I always, you kill people in there. Oh my God, no, that's bad for business. Do you know what this place would smell like? Have you ever been near a slaughterhouse? And anybody who's been near a slaughterhouse or grew up in a farming community, oh God, no. Because like Pete, we had to kill a snake, and I didn't want to kill the snake, and then later we found out that it was actually the kind that eats rattlesnakes. And I was moping around. He's like, "Oh, you're no farm boy." Well, no, dude. I was grown in the suburbs. I'm a city boy. I've lived near farms, so I have half the trauma. But no, I do not have all of the horrific stories that you and other people have about being raised on farms.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I remember the good old days, as it were, as so many people like to compliment it as, and I like to remind people, there's a wonderful song lyric, the good old days weren't always good. So let's just remember that, and we'll go from there.
The good old days were harder. Like the old man said, every generation has made it easier for the next generation, and now you have stupid, useless people. And, oh, wow, he's right. Because if I'm doing everything for you, and machines are doing everything for you, and the computer's doing everything for you, what are you doing? Supervising your learning? You can't supervise your own learning. You can't write yourself out of your own story. You have to it's like blacksmithing. You can't just have a tomahawk or a sword. You have to make that fucker. You have to bend that over and over and over and hammer the shit out of it, and or anything. Yep. Juggling. I want to learn how to juggle. Well, I can teach you. Well, how long will that take? How bad do you want to learn? I learned in 50 minutes. Actually, closer to 45, because I really wanted to learn. It was a very important thing for me.
Well, the thing that I always like to remind people of is that my kids don't know necessarily how. I mean, they've started to learn. My grandchildren have started to learn. You've started to learn, but they don't. Most people don't know how to make something from something else. They haven't learned that aspect in a physical sense. The difference, though, is that so much of that is now being handled in a mechanical engineering fashion, in that somebody is creating a tool that has the capacity to make that in a particular fashion or manner at faster speed and more accurate, and able to build those things and carry them forward. So my grandchildren have certain amounts of knowledge that I don't have, and it would take me much longer to catch up to what they're doing.
Yes.
But they will also be able to do certain things easier, faster, quicker by use of the new tooling.
No, I'm going to do an example of exactly what you're saying. Here is a 3D printed gnome that Chip and Willow made for me. And you're right. Another tool created this thing. I was hoping that he was going to come on, but I'm going to go ahead and show it off because it's fucking amazing. As opposed to, here is a handmade pipe that Ed made for me that's a dragon. Look at his little mouth and his tongue. And here, let me put this back because it's safe. So he had to pound out all the air in the dough, and as I don't know if you remember or not, viewers at home, but I had the back scratcher up here, and it fell on top of my pipe. I wasn't even using it. It was off to the side, safe, but it wasn't safe. And this isn't something you can fix. So Ed made me an even more amazing, grandiose pipe. I haven't even used it yet.
Yep.
I was waiting for him to be on the show to use it, but that hasn't happened. So this is way easier because you just go online and get a 3D rendering picture of a gnome to put in the CAD that fixes it for the 3D printer, and now boom, there it is.
And they will learn how to write the code if they have a desire to create the next thing. It's like we were talking about. Here's a knife. This piece is most likely cut using a water jet or a laser system, and then it's been ground very quickly through a system. That one was made. This is what I would expect my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren would be able to do this through the use of a CNC system and whatever else they wanted to do with it. This is one that I made This is hand forged Damascus pattern welded blade. It's elk horn and oak barrel stave from a whiskey barrel,
Nice.
handmade leather sheath. But that's the difference. This took me weeks to complete. Where with the new technology,
That was stamped
this can
out
be
in
completed in
20 minutes.
an hour. So, total finish time, it's an hour. Cut it, profile it, harden it, temper it, sharpen it, do the final coatings and the laser etch, and then create a plastic sheath for it. And there it is. It's blow molded plastic sheath. So I can't, I won't necessarily denigrate what they know today and what they're going to learn tomorrow versus what I know today and what I learned yesterday. The difference is that a lot of those things that I learned, a lot of the things that I was taught by my father, by my grandfather, by those who came well before me, they're still valid in that they led to what is being done today and to the improvements that are being seen. Now, if there's a sudden EM pulse in the whole world and this, that, and the other and all, okay, that's fine. But the other thing, I have that skill set that I could work if suddenly we were thrust back to a period where that was a necessity.
Yeah.
But those children, your kids, my grandchildren, and those that come after them are going to be able to rediscover that because they're going to be able to backward engineer it. They're going to be, okay, well, the machine did this. What can I do to do the same thing? It's going to take me longer, but if I do it this way, oh, yeah, Grandpa's got files. Files will cut metal. Oh, yeah, and fire will heat up the metal so we can do. And so it is as much a function of the time and the availability of technology as anything else. I mean, we talked about this in the first episodes where we talked about how technology had changed. The first hammers were sticks and the cleaned bones of animals. And then somebody figured out I can take the sinew and I can strap a rock to this stick, and boy, I can beat the shit out of something or somebody with that.
Yeah. It works great. What? I'll hit him again. Yeah.
And so, that'll come in 100 years. Well, right now, you and I can't, but the capacity to print in metal is available.
Yes.
So someone can print a component that is necessary. They could print that knife in metal, and it would be as strong and functional. The cost for that would be considerably higher than even if I hand forged it, because the cost of the technology and the materials. But in 10 years, the cost of that would be less than going through a CNC machine, whatever the other case. So it's interesting to watch as it happens. But we look at it from our mindset, from our frame of mind, and we think, do you mean you don't know how to use a hand saw?
Yeah.
It's like, I learned how to use it. Come here, let me show you how to use a hand saw. What are you, stupid? No, you're not stupid. You've always had a circular saw, a power saw, something like that.
You've always had somebody,
So it's interesting to watch. I mean, we've watched. What is the boomers' favorite thing, and now our favorite thing to complain about with the kids, with the newest generation? They can't drive stick shifts because they don't need to.
Well, no.
They can't read cursive. So, because they're not being taught cursive. So how can we overwhelm and overcome the younger generation? We're going to get rid of all the automatic transmissions, and we're going to write everything in cursive. So only we know what's going on.
That'll screw them up too. I think it'll be all right. It goes back and forth. I mean, this is not the first time this has happened, I'm sure. And
Gretchen, enough.
But I've got to celebrate you being home.
She's over there barking at Fenner for no reason. He's in the dark, and she's in the light, and she's barking at him. It must be Halloween season.
Yeah, got to keep the balance. Halloween is so awesome. Yeah. I think one of the other things too, I was talking about it before you got on, is Halloween is the decorations are more than ever, and everybody's decorating, but there's less kids trick or treating, and that's kind of bad because there's less kids going to little old ladies' houses, and they don't get to gush over, because the two, well, one sits in her house and the other one sits out front. Oh, all night long.
Yeah.
And it's the same loss of the, Blockbuster, the video rental store, or roller rinks, or pool halls, or arcades, where these are social areas. It's not just this item that you're going to,
Yeah, and we had talked about that too. It's kind of interesting to see the massive change of what constitutes a social gathering place. I mean, you and I, when I was growing up, I had Metro Center Mall, I had Valley West Mall.
Yeah.
And that was where you got, when your parents allowed it, that was where you got to go and meet up with your buddies.
Oh, I was a mall rat, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to go and do that, but that limited your social group could only be those kids who were within maybe a 3-mile radius of those areas, or whose parents were willing to drive them there. So maybe it was a 5-mile radius that, parents were willing to drop their kids off there that you could all meet. But now we're seeing that, our social gathering area has increased because we've both got friends that are across the country, and we can bring them on here. We can bring them on to social media, Zoom. We can have that kind of meeting. Rob is a perfect example with his streaming games, where he can bring people in from around the world who want to play. So now you've got this much larger virtual social gathering place. And I know that my grandchildren have an even bigger area, and more of their friends will gather in that space, and then they will have a different kind of meaningful communication when they are face-to-face, when they get to be face-to-face.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they're living in the virtual world that we dreamed of with the original Tron.
Yeah. Yeah, they really are. Like that Second Life thing that Paul became obsessed with. Oh, I'm old Second Life. It's like, what, dude? Just, it's not a game. It's like that. That's what it's like. It's like Tron, or what's that one that the kids play? The Stardew Valley. They played it constantly. I watched them play it all the time.
Well, we watched some of the earliest versions of this when we started to get the major online games that came about. So, Final Fantasy and all of these, where they became these places where people could get together. Now you had, and I will forever state this and hold it dear in my heart, Dungeons and Dragons brought all of these things together because it was us who started it. Pretty much. Those of us who became more intelligent were able to write stuff. I don't include myself in that group, but who were able to write these computer programs, were able to share it and bring more D&D nerds together and make it more palatable. So I claim that our people, the geeks, are the ones that created this and made it worthwhile.
Yeah, that rings true. Nerds had nothing to do with it. That seems legit.
The nerds wrote little sections. It was the geeks that were able to corral the nerds and say, okay, you get to build this part of the user interface. You get to build this part of the back end.
And you're going to need rules. Oh, God. Yes, you can make the rules, but we get to edit it.
You can write rules, and then we're going to go find another nerd who likes to break the rules. Show us how to break the rules so that we can.
Okay, we're going to edit that. Oh, no, that's no, we're not going to do that. It's like the best is the episode of The Simpsons where all the smart people take over. We are going to take a page from the comic book store guy. We will be reading once every 7 years. For most of you, this will be a lot less. And for some of us, it will be much, much more.
Yay, comic book guy.
He's so funny. or when I want to return this belt. Or did you ever watch like where Hank Azaria got the voice and the
No.
the tempo from So apparently Hank Azaria went to college and he stayed in a dorm for a amount of time, and there was a big fat guy named F. And they never found out if F was for like Franklin or Freddie or, you know, Phineas or okay, whatever, F. And the guy was like the RA. He was like the you know, and he said that the guy had a big Barco lounger, and these dorms were really small. It's like, how did you get this thing in here? And he was in the room, and he had on his door, he had like a dry erase button, and if you pissed him off, you have now made my list. I will write your name on the list. And he said that this guy played Jenny by Tommy Two Tone, 8675309, just all the time. That song sucks. It does not. It is a very good song. So like that whole guy is comic book guy. Because like he would go on talk shows and they would ask him and he would start doing the voice. He's like, no, I didn't. He was an RA. I barely talked to him. I stayed out of trouble. He didn't talk to me because I wasn't in trouble.
But you got to watch him, and
Yeah.
Like
Well, because I guess
comedy. Well, I was going to say comedy. The best description of comedy came from a comedian that, and I, unfortunately, I cannot remember his name. When I worked at a comedy club in Phoenix, he came through, and I want to say that he had a master's degree and all these other things, but comedy, stand-up was his forte. He loved it, and he would tell science jokes and things like that, and then real life jokes. And he would tell people, he said, look, I'm going to teach you all the first, most basic rule of comedy. It's a mathematical formula. And everybody's, it's life plus logic equals comedy. If you can remember that, you can tell a joke.
Gary Marshall proved that. Yeah. so did Carl Reiner. It's a pretty. Comedy is simple elegance crashing through the universe. That's really all it is, because it goes back to the coping mechanism thing we were talking about earlier. If you put three dudes in a room and you put the Stooges on, and Jay Leno made this joke, it doesn't matter if they, work at a gas station or the guy has a PhD. If Mo hits Larry in the face with the shovel, he's going to laugh. Where, on the other hand, women are like, why are you laughing at that? That's not funny. He hurt that guy. It's not real. You can't really hit somebody in the face with a shovel. You'll kill them. It's a movie.
That's why you explain to people that, what is the attraction to professional wrestling? That is men's soap operas from the 1980s on. That became men's soap operas. Women had these soap operas from the 50s, and they loved them, and it was wonderful. It was escapist entertainment for them, but it gave them all of the social interactions and things that they understood.
Those guys had lunch in the hotel. They got on the bus. They came here. They got into wardrobe. They got into makeup. They stood around for an hour and a half in the wardrobe shooting the shit, and then they got out there for, 10 minutes, and they pretended to want to kill one another. Then they went back to the...
And they tell the stories, and then you have the background stories that go along with it, because now, in the 80s, that was when the background stories and all of that started coming out in professional wrestling, where you had to have the dynasties, and this guy hates that guy, and this person over here doesn't like that person, and and this guy's now dating this guy's ex-wife, and whatever.
They had it all in the 60s and the 50s. It's professional wrestling is like horror movie. It's not going to go away. It's the gladiatorial arena of modern day. It's the modern gladiator. All the characters are the same, and all the characters are the same in American, but we don't hold a candle to the luchadores, the los luchadores libre. Mexican wrestlers, like Guy was telling me when we were talking about, I wanted to do I had this storyline in my head and it wouldn't go away. So normally when that happens, like I got a new one now and it's fucking annoying. So, well, what if you had a guy that was an ex-con and he didn't know he was a superhero? He didn't know he had a power because nobody has powers in the world. But he ends up kind of like by happenstance coming onto this chop shop and they recognize that he's there. So he has to kind of hide his identity and beat these guys up. So he reaches in the trash and there just happens to be a luchador mask. And he beats up all these guys. But most of his fighting is, yeah, he can fight. But there's a lot of like, there just happens to be a wrench here and boom! Unconscious, no teeth. Good night, sweet prince. You know.
Yeah.
So
the
luchadors have the masks are good, neutral, evil. And they make up the stories and so you can have a bunch of different actors be the same mask because it goes through generation. So if you could have like a Hulk Hogan would be a Hulk Hogan mask and an outfit, and then after, Hulk had to retire, Hulk Hogan would still wrestle, but Terry, what the hell's Hulk Hogan's real name? I used to know this.
Terry Bollea, I think it is.
Hogan's like his middle name or a mother maiden name.
Yeah.
Hogan's not his real last name. But yeah, he would retire, but Hulk Hogan, Duffman never dies, only the actors who portray him. To quote the sentence. You told me this. Duffman says a lot of things. I love Duffman. But you could still do the same. Superheroes will never go away. They'll just change. Same thing with James Bond. Same thing with sports movies. It's what dudes like. Historical films. The one stand-up comedian and actor guy, Shane, he's really funny. And he does a perfect Donald Trump impersonation. And he's incredibly smart, and he is really into history. And they have a clip of him, and he's like, I watch a lot of documentaries, and my favorite documentary of all times is Ken Burns' Civil War. And I heard that, and I'm like, oh, okay, this should be interesting. Because that's a long documentary. And I've probably seen the whole thing probably 7 or 8 times. I'm really... I know I was there, I just don't remember what I was doing. Or what side I was on, or who I was, or even if I was there. So, he talks about, it's all the Civil War, so there's no footage. Which, only he got a light laugh for that. It's like, that laugh should have been a lot, that was funny, but then again, none of you are historian geeks, so.
Yeah.
And he's like, they don't have it, so they just have the black and white pictures, and they just slowly focus in on them as they, have actors, and then they have the historians, and then they have the narrator going on. And he talks about this one guy, and I can remember thinking the same thing that he says. And he's like, there's this one historian named Shelby Foote, and he is a Southern historian. And you could tell by the way he talks and everything he says in this, he was really rooting for the South to win, and just the whole audience just erupts. And if you go back and you watch it and you're like, wow. And he's like, every single one of them is like in an office, or they're like at a table with the narrator and the interviewers and stuff. Not this guy, Professor. He's like in his, like he said, he's in his living room just freestyling, making up shit about the Civil War for the South. It was like, how did you know that? It's like, oh my God, because I've seen that whole. Ken Burns does some amazing documentary work, and that one is one of his finest.
Yeah.
One of his finest, because most of it is a collection of correspondence. So the actors are reading letters that they're going back and forth. And it's a lot of the way they did the American Revolution that they yanked off YouTube. You can't find it anymore. Because I used to have it all saved, and now this is no longer available. Oops. It's not oops, you guys. But they have it as it's more correspondence than it is. Back in 1862, it's more, dearest Philetta, I ached for you. Vicksburg was a real bitch, and I now have no arms and legs. Yeah. And I'm writing to you using the quill with my teeth. And so it's very, impactful because... Yeah,
they've done a number of those in their own words, because there was a World War I, World War II. I want to say there was a Korea and a Vietnam as well that was done in that same fashion.
But they definitely did the Civil War in that way, and the Revolutionary War, because
those are incredibly impactful. Yeah, because they're hearing it essentially out of the mouths of the person who was there.
And it's not them; it's not their voice, but they're hitting all the.
Oh yeah,
they're hitting it all.
That's
I'm out of tea.
Another almost lost art. Some people are still very good at writing letters in the form of an email, which has taken that place. And even that is beginning to fall by the wayside because we've gotten to a point where more people like the text message because it's short snippets. It's very easy. But we had this conversation too. That's going to lead to the change in language and writing.
Yeah.
That came about. We're going to go back to, I think,
cuneiform. No.
Yeah. Well, something so. We're going to go back to a hieroglyphic type writing because so much will be shortened. So many things right now, so much of the colloquialisms, the statements. How many times do you write LOL in a text because you just want to get that point across, or you send an emoji?
Or I just do because like I do H-A-H-A-H-A-H-A all the way across the blue. That's how I say LOL.
That will eventually, and I'm talking, it will take hundreds, if not 1,000 years for that adjustment.
You're talking about that. You're talking about that episode of Star Trek where they find the planet where the Yanks and it's basically the Chinese and the American have a war, and they get wiped out. And
the Yanks.
William Highcloud, whatever his name was.
Yeah. And they say the Pledge of Allegiance. Freak everybody out.
I'm Canadian, but the rest of the cast understands. God, I love the original Star Trek. I'm afraid to watch the Lower Decks and Discovery and the other ones.
I haven't seen Lower Decks. I enjoyed Discovery. I enjoyed...
You've got me on the redheads, but there has to be more than just a redhead for it to be good.
But we've had this discussion before. Part of what I do is a lot of people really want the canon. So I first saw this, therefore that's canon and that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Where when I go looking at them, I want to take, if you're going to do this version or this episode or this storyline, I want you to make it stand on its own.
Yeah.
And if you can make it stand on its own, then I'll fold it into the rest of the canon and have a wonderful time with it. I'll enjoy every minute of it because then that tells me somebody spent the time to craft a storyline.
Yeah.
Even if an episode doesn't quite live up, but if you can build a storyline that I can jump in on, I'm going to be happy with it and I'll run with it.
You can't be Jar Jar Abrams and come in and urinate all over somebody else's project and try to pass it off as canon, whether it's Star Trek or Star Wars. I'm so mad about that. Alias, I saw little pieces of it. Lost, you totally lost me in season 3. You introduced all these new actors and new storylines. Dude, this isn't an offshoot. This is the same story, right?
Yeah.
And then some of it became, I'm ready to distend disbelief, to extend it, and to, but after a while, it's like, this is just... I hate everything but Matlock. Matlock. Oh, it's on now. You know, felt like Grandpa Simpson watching it. And then, oh, did you watch it till the 6th season or whatever? No, man, you lost me with the Ben and all the Michelle Rodriguez's character. I mean, Mr. Echo was interesting, but you don't really like get into his character. He's just kind of a badass with scary Bible verses written all over his beatdown club, his Be Cool tool. And then they gave it the Jacob's Ladder ending. And everyone was up in arms about that. And it's like, well, I mean, the whole thing's been a twist since the beginning. And it started with a plane crash. It's really not that far. For him and the way he does movies and stories, this is actually coherent. It's not some fucking, like, Star Wars or Star Trek where you're like, what? So, but, you know, I don't mind it because the Jacob's Ladder ending at the movie was, wow, but that was in 1986. That was, you know, we've done that already. So to do it again in a show, I don't have a problem with that part of it. I have a problem with all of the unanswered issues. Like, you never even got, you explain Desmond completely, but we never really go into, what is his name? I can't remember his name in the show, but, you know, Clancy Brown plays the guy.
Yeah.
And he tries to steal the Desmond's catamaran and then leave Desmond in the having to push the numbers every, you know, because there's supposed to be two people, so you can have a day off so you don't go crazy because you have to push why are we pushing numbers? Can't all this technology and you can't invent a failsafe to vent the laser ray or the machine or the smoke that kills people or whatever's good. So there was a lot. Oh, it's a security system. That answers the question. No, it doesn't. That brings up even more questions, to quote Hermes. So, but at least, it made up in his mind. Okay, well, now you've taken away, you don't have to answer any questions. It's just all bits of his life thrown in together. Your life flashes before your eyes when you die. After you're dead, how can you come back and tell people that that happened? And I don't think that would be the first question. Does your life really pass before your eyes before you die? Where did you go after you died? It doesn't happen that way. It happens in reverse.
What were you doing? I want to know.
Well,
inquiring minds want to know.
A lot of people see a tunnel. It wasn't a tunnel so much of it being pushed through the universe without mass and phasing through everything. Because, I mean, if you're going to be guided by, you know, even if the Grim Reaper is a solar, you are thought now, and you're just energy. You're no longer, you have no corpus, do not exist anymore.
I will throw out my favorite TV show finale of all time, and I will die on this hill. I think it was the best way to end a program. You remember the Newhart show?
Yes.
When Bob Newhart had the hotel?
Yeah, Larry and Daryl.
Yeah. And then when they finished that show, that was, as far as I was concerned, that was the absolute best.
It was all a dream.
Yeah.
That's how they should have ended Herman's head, too. It's all, if half of the show is in his head, it should all be a dream by the end of it.
Yeah.
That show was cute. You had to see what Lisa Simpson looked like before. Yeardley Smith. One of the best ever in the actor's studio with James Lipton is he had the entire main cast of The Simpsons. And he was
I saw that one.
He was calling the Simpsons characters by name and the actors were answering. So he goes over to Harry Shearer and he's like, C. Montgomery Burns. Yes. Occupation. Mogul. You all work for me now. What do you think of Homer Simpson? Who? Homer Simpson. Sir, he's one of your gelatinous globs from Sector 7G. Oh, yes, Simpson. Yes. I love Mr. Byrne. I mean, Simpsons is great because it's like everybody in a town that you fucking love, but you wouldn't want to spend any time with them.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to party with Homer, but you don't want him on your home repair project. He's going to fuck everything up. He's going to be drunk and, you know.
You want to work in the building with him, but you never want to work on his team.
No, my God, no. Because you're going to be doing all the work. I mean, yeah, he's fun and cool and everything, but he's not a worker. He's a party dude.
He's the guy you want to hear about when you're at lunch.
Did you hear what
and
he
the guys are talking about, oh, my God.
Yeah. Don't be that guy. Get your work done. Oh, I was telling Ed, I have a woman at work that does not like me, and she goes out of her way. And then they put her in charge of me because fast food. So, I mean, she does know her shit. I'm not going to say she's smart, but I don't speak your language, so you're going to give me explicit detail. Did we talk about this already, like last? No, because this just happened the other day. Because through time, I've been, you know, proving my worth. It's a fast food place. I don't have to prove my worth. I have run fucking departments in major... Never mind. Okay, I'll make the bacon. So they climb up the wall because there's all these tiny little Hispanic women. So I'm like, no, Pelegro. And they start laughing at me. And it's like, no. I don't, you know, and I'm having the other younger one translate for me. Tell her this. I don't question your climbing ability, nor do I question the rack. What I question is the bolts that have been in there since God knows when, because this place was made in like 92, 93, because I was working at Walmart next door in 93. So I know how old this place is. And I yelled at her one day because of the walk-in, because the walk-in is like a closet, and I'm broad-shouldered. And I kept making jokes to the other one, the one I want to spend time with, because she walks around singing and laughing and joking all day long. It's like, oh, man. Instead, I have Grumpinella here. This is great. So, I'm sorry, Consuelo. I don't know what her name is. I'm sorry. And not only that, it's fast food, so nobody, like, introduces themselves, or everything is through osmosis. Do this. I don't know how to do that. You were shown. I was shown one time, and this is boring. I can only memorize stuff I'm really into if I see it one time. Like, you know, comedy acts or pretty girls. This is different. This is maintenance. So she was having, you have to take everything out to put everything in, and there's two. It's just, and at one point I'm like, I know this is not your, you know, your, why aren't I here when the guy delivers the stuff at what, 2, 3 in the morning? I'm awake. Except for last night. Last night, I went to sleep at around 7:30. I woke up with not a migraine, because there is a difference, but a blinding headache at 9:30. And then I was like in a daze. I got an ice pack, and I took 1,000 milligrams of acetaminophen. Go Costco. But it took about till 11:30 which was weird, because I didn't eat anything till like 5 or 6. My stomach should be empty. This should be like, boom, oh, cool, drugs, here we go. But that didn't happen. So maybe it was like, sometimes a migraine will come on as a headache, and then all of a sudden it'll become way worse. So maybe I kind of stopped that. So I left the house without my wallet, got to the gas station, then came back to get it, walked out of the house 2 more times without it. Oh my God, what is wrong with me? So yeah, my sleep, if I don't get at least 4 or 5 hours, I'm insane. And I get a migraine after that, so that's why I've been yawning all through tonight. That and I was talking about it earlier today. Can't afford booze and soda, so if I'm at a point in life, in a fork in the road, where you can buy weed or you can buy, but weed, hands down, I'll go without booze. It's all right. I can always buy it later. It's not that important. Weed, on the other hand, is every day, all day long. Oh my God, we need that. You've got to buy it right now. Yeah. My body will hurt. Booze is good for pain. And so many people are like, booze is good for pain? Well, if you drink enough, yeah, you don't feel anything. you hurt yourself. And now I'm getting to that. I'm losing the layer of fat. So yeah, cool. You could see, more definition, which was already there. But now, I mean, I cut myself today, and then I accidentally punched the. I'm using the ratchet. My hand slipped. Bam! Oh,
Ow. Yeah.
Yeah, it still hurts because I broke this bone before, a boxer fracture.
Oh.
I fell off a chair doing work around the house, and I landed weird and broke my hand.
Yeah.
You kidding? I'm like, this was 2005. Yeah, 2005. I broke my hand. So it's like I don't even really try to play the boron and the bones anymore because I used to be so fast, but now I don't play anymore. There's nobody to play. I don't have an Irish band that I can play with, and I broke my hand. So Vosh, the guy that we were rivals, and then we became friends because we found out this other woman was talking shit about she was telling me stuff that he said, but he never said that, and she was saying stuff that I said. I never said that. I know you're better than I am. You can also sing, and I can't. I'm already way more jealous than you, dude. Not only that, you're from Kansas City, and this is Arizona. You're already a celebrity because you're from out of town.
Yeah.
And then he didn't like that. I used to be able to play Wipeout with one hand. But I could probably do that for maybe a minute now. But I used to be able to do that for 5 minutes on stage. But I don't play I can't remember. Paul dragged me out to O'Connor's because O'Connor's was going to close, and it's closed. It's gone. But Jimmy's been dead. Jimmy O'Connor's been dead for years. I met Jimmy I met Jimmy after he bought the Dubliner off of Seamus McCaffrey's, and Seamus bought Seamus McCaffrey's downtown because Seamus was a local legend because he was an Irishman. I can't remember where he was from. I used to know. And Seamus, they would get him really drunk, and then they would drag him up on stage, and they would make him sing 7 Drunken Nights. And the problem is that he would get so wasted, it was really 15 nights. But everybody's laughing at him, and he's having a good time, and everybody loved him. He was a great guy. But there were families. The McGuires, the McMorrows, O'Connor, there were families that were prominent in the area, but now, all those people that were... The pub used to be a celebration, go there on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe Bill Craig was in town, or Brian, or Tony Cummings, or one of the other balladeers that... These guys are from they're from Ireland, and they land in New York or Boston, and they do a circuit the way Rennies do a circuit. And they literally spend a couple years going across America from pub to pub, and sometimes they rent places, and sometimes people put them up for a couple months that they're in town, and then they go on, and then another dude comes, and he's got... They all sing the same songs, but some dudes have songs that other dudes don't know or don't do, and then,
Or they have the old traditional ones, and they know this regional portion of the song that is not, well, he's from Cork, and he's from Limerick, and he's from, and there's different bits and pieces. I remember those days.
And even it's survived on YouTube. There's video of Bill, there's video of Tony, and Bill Craig. Not only did I get to hang out with him after his shows, and he would drag me up on stage, and I would play the bones, and I would do the boron, and we would have a good time, and I can't sing, but I'm funny, so I'm good to have on a stage, and I would bring people with me almost every time I got there, and then I was already kind of in the community because I was doing Ren Fair, which has Irish dancers in it. Guess who's out at Ren Fair? TSCot was basically, she passed away from cancer a little while ago, but she was an icon out there because you have the Morris dancers. You've got 2 or 3 gypsy troops. I think there's only 2 now. Because Jeremy, I think Jeremy has taken over Dumba, and he's local. And because I'll just go out and be a gypsy. Well, I could probably join Dumba, but it's been so long, and my hands aren't the same anymore. But there was the Scottish dancers, the Highland dancers, because a lot of times the Morris dancers would share a stage with them. And most of us got along, and there was rivalry. And then I yelled at Scott one day, and he really didn't deserve it, but I was like having all this stuff going on and all that, and I kind of let him have it right before a show. And he's not even in my group. He's part of the Scottish dancers. That was wrong.
Yeah.
I apologize, but he'll probably never watch this, so it's fine. So, but TSCot was strictly Irish dancing, which was kind of tough to do out there in the, it's the desert. You don't have a wooden stage where they can really go to town with their clogs. And because I was familiar with Irish clogging and step dancing because my Aunt Mary Lou was a step dancer, because she was my mom's youngest sister. So my older sister was born when Mary Lou was probably in her late teens, early 20s. Because my memories of her in the beginning is she's still living at my grandparents' house. That's where Mary Lou and Grandma and Pop live. And then, later she was an adult and she moved out, got married and had 3 kids. But I mean, she and Jean, my Aunt Jean and my mom has 3 sisters. So they still post a lot of because they were in the community. Jean, they each had 1 daughter and a bunch of boys. That's very Irish.
Yeah.
Michael, Patrick, help Virginia.
Michael, Patrick, Seamus,
Kieran,
William.
Liam, Noah, Adam. Or the best is there's a guy that lives in Philadelphia, and I can't remember what his name is. My mom watches all of his videos, and he's a character, and he doesn't even shave. He just puts makeup and a wig on and woman's clothes, and he's called Aunt Mary Pat. And he is basically, he's like the iconic woman that lives in Philly that works at Wawa and just complains all the time with her accent. Gotta frickin' believe this. Gotta go to frickin' Wawa. I told that story too a million times, where it was back east. It was 2005. I hadn't been back since 83. It was a totally different place. I'm in parts of New Jersey I have never been before. I mean, I've been all over Philadelphia back in the day when it was nice. Not now. Have you seen the video? Yeah, it's bad. But it's been bad since the 90s. It's just got progressively worse from what I've been told by people who live there. And it's like, it's not the glorious city that you remember from the 70s and the 80s. No, probably not. So every time we went to a Wawa, I would say wah wah and then start laughing. And eventually my father-in-law at the time, Bob, he was getting annoyed with me about the second day, but I kept doing it because to me, it's fucking hilarious. He's like, why is that so funny to you? And I'm like, I don't know. It just is. It sounds funny. It is funny. It's funny that there's a store with that kind of sounding name. I would have the same reaction if we were walking around and there were Piggly Wiggly, or we were driving around and there were Piggly Wigglies. I would constantly be giggling, down it's a Piggly Wiggly, because it's everywhere, but it's more associated with a southern thing. It's not, And he's like, do you know what that means? And I'm like, I have absolutely no idea. I'm completely ignorant. To me, it's just hysterical. I mean, sorry. He's like, wah wah is the Lenape word for Canadian geese. Oh, is that why there's one on this? Oh, so then I didn't say it after that. Now it's done. It's not funny anymore. Now that you put science on it, it's interesting, or history and anthropology more in case in this lines. But now it's not. It's all lost.
Say it again so the grandchildren can laugh.
Yeah.
Go on, say it.
The kids are just looking at me like, this is dad being dad, just laughing about stupid shit. Like I was telling Judy, Christine, you're snoring. And she would hit me. You're snoring. And her whole goal was to fall asleep at night before I came to bed so you could get some sleep. Because otherwise, all night long. So she says, you'll get to a point where I'll roll you over and you'll, because I can remember like one time she's like, you're snoring. I'm like, I'm not even asleep. I'm sitting here like thinking about stuff. And I went and I started explaining about everything. I was like, well, your mind may have been doing that, but you were snoring. You know, and she recorded me snoring once so I could hear it. It was terrible. I never want to hear it again. So don't worry, it'll happen. So she's like, there gets to a point at night where you roll over, and usually you're either on your side and your back, and you'll start telling yourself jokes and laughing at them. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, no, you'll sit there and you'll be like, and I'll just wake out of a like, oh God. Or I'll be like, depending on how funny it is. So yeah, apparently I do that. It's better to sleep alone. You don't know what you're doing when you're sound asleep. It's been over 10.
I never have to worry about sleeping alone. I have.
Oh well, yeah.
I have 130 pounds and 60 pounds of.
Of heat generators. Well, I had steel down. It was over here on the bottom of the mattress, down at where my feet are. So I always worry about kicking him because I'm a rotisserie hot dog at night. And then Venus was up, and she gets the worst of it because it's like, oh, it's pitch black. I can't see where you are. Oh, let me pet you. Sorry about that. Oops. That's not one of your lives, is it? Sorry. Okay.
I got to call it. It's getting to be pumpkin time.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.
That's right. And when you're out there, be good. If you can't be good, don't get caught because we don't have bail money.
Remember, Halloween serves three purposes. Purpose. I'm getting tired too. Like I said, I was up with a headache, and then just today I've been off. And then the forklift had a flat tire because like the bead slipped off the rim. So we need the neighbor to lift it up with his bobcat, but he was gone all day. So the social thing, the getting the candy, and teaching children about taxes. Because those Reese's cups are yours. They don't belong to the kids.
Exactly. It's just the tax that you pay.
Yes. Well, that's mine. You live and eat here and have clothes, don't you? Oh, yes. These are mine now. Welcome to the taxation nation.
Papa has to test everything. These could be poison. I'll try them. I'll take one for the team.
They could have weed in them. There could be laced weed in there. But thank you for watching. Watch your kids. Go out and trick or treat. Don't go to a goddamn parking lot with a bunch of people with their. I mean, I know that's great and all, but that's not Halloween. That's just hanging out in a parking lot with candy and costumes.
Trunk and treat is okay as a part of the evening if that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But boy, you better take them kids around to the house and let them have it.
Yeah. And if you want to do your own haunted house, go watch the other channel, Bats in the Belfry, with Reverend Fishcrackers and I, Cliff. We give you a lot of tips. And you can buy those molds for like $20 or $30 on Amazon, but they're not really molds. They're displays for like clothing stores. If you were to opening your own, you flip that bitch over, coat it with Vaseline, spray foam it, and you've got yourself a bloody, awful torso. Happy Halloween, kids. Happy Mischief Night. Don't do anything too bad.
Woo!
Woo!
Oh, Gretchen is telling me, God damn it.
Yeah. I know, they're like looking at me. It's time for bed. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Have a good evening, my brother.
Absolutely. You as well, sir. Thank you. Thank you. We are now